The special public meeting of February 10, 2018 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers on February 6, 2018, and this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. If we could stand for a salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Bruno?
here.
Councilman Casio?
Here.
Councilman Cumming?
Here.
Councilman Ullman?
Here.
Council President DeSena?
Here. Yep. Motion open to public.
Second.
I'm sorry, Bob, you second?
Yes.
Councilman Bruno?
Yeah.
Councilman Casio?
Here.
Councilman Cumming?
Yeah.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Seeing nobody in the audience?
Motion to close.
Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. We're here today to discuss the 2018 budget. So we'll start. Mr. Bruno, you want to?
Yeah, so Mike has asked if I would like to kind of take the lead since I've gone through this so that we can go through things.
I apologize. 1 second, Mr. Bruno. Just a quick reminder that pet licenses are now due. Please be advised that the $5 late fee is now in effect. As of March 1st, the late fee will be $25. Bergen County will be giving free flu vaccines on Monday, February 12th and Thursday, February 15th from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. at 1 Bergen County Plaza, Hackensack. Forms will be available on site and free parking is available. Thank you. I apologize for that, Mr. Bruno.
Thank you.
Mike, can I just make a quick opening statement? Take less than a minute.
About the budget?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. First up, I want to thank Mary Ann, all the department heads for meeting with me to walk me through the budget. It was a great help. Second is the budget is up, but a lot of the department heads asked if they could go a little high this year to make up for the previous years where they weren't able to spend what was allocated to them. So keep that in mind when going through it. I hope it's a one-time bump to get them where they should be, and to keep the tax increase to minimal, if any. We will use the surplus that built up because of that lack of spending to keep the increase in check. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So, Pete, just a question on that. Regarding the department heads, you've spoken to all the department heads, you and Mary Ann have gone through everybody?
I spoke with all the major heads. I didn't talk to like planning board, zoning board that have minimal budgets, but I spoke to all the big ones, and Mary Ann probably spoke to a few more than I did.
Okay. So in the past, they had put in money, but we just never gave it to them. So are they putting in more than what they put in the past, so I understand your statement, or are they going back to what they actually wanted?
A little of both. Some needed to get up to make up for multiple years of not being able to spend what they had. Others, they couldn't, let's say, pick up from the past and not being able to spend, so they stayed kind of flat. So a little of each.
Okay. Just before we start, the unaudited financial statements, I understand now we have to file on the state website.
Online.
And we have to get a code to get them, but I assume we'll get printouts. I spoke to Lou yesterday. He said there's some new thing that they have, the state.
It is new. It was rolled out a few months ago. Basically, this printed document is no longer required to be mailed down to the state. They want all the information uploaded into the system, so it's available to anyone who wants it.
Okay. And Lurch Finchie's preparing the unaudited financial statements?
They have, yes.
have they done closing entries? Are they the firm who did the closing entries for us, or did you do the closing
It
entries? Oh,
was kind of hand in hand,
Okay.
both of us worked
So-
together.
Okay, do we have a contract for them, a retainer in terms of what they're doing?
Yes.
For 18, what do you mean, 18?
It would be for the fiscal year end 2017, yes.
Okay, so we have something?
Yes.
So you get us that, so we can see the contracts and, because there's a budget in here for them too, right?
Well, no, actually, the 2017, as you know, just like the audit, it gets charged against the year that it reflects for the year end. So the 2017 financial statements is charged to the 2017 budget. And the audit for 2017 gets charged to the 2017 budget, just like, so you'll see when you hit the actuals for those two line items, financial services and audit, you'll see nothing spent for audit,
Okay.
because that's get paid this year. And you'll see there's a buildup of about 9,000, 8,000 in the 2017 line.
Okay.
And that's the way it's been handled, as far as I know, for all time.
Okay. So Ashley, while we have you for an hour, there's a couple of things that we have gone through in the last 2 years. One was the cash reserves all over the balance sheet, that I'm a big proponent, and I think we all are, to try and pull some of this stuff back. So my question is, have we scrubbed the balance sheet for all these cash reserves to see what we can pull back in this budget, or is this gonna be at the end of the budget? We can look at it and pull them all back? I can tell you what they are.
So go ahead and specifically tell me what
So,
you're talking about.
so basically,
Can I just interject? I'm going to go upstairs and get the financial statements so everybody can follow along. And
which ones?
the ones that Ashley hasn't, you haven't had a chance to electronically file them yet, but you told me that they're okay to
I think that might
release.
derail the conversation from the budget to AFS, but that's,
What's that?
Yeah, I don't know if we're at the
I don't-
AFS, but if we can get them, that would be great.
Okay.
So, sorry, gentlemen and ladies. In our schedules, there's a schedule of reserves, and it's $1 million, $1.1 million or $1.2 million. And in that number there's $1 million from the school that's been sitting. We have a $40,000 number, I think, that's called tax refunds. There's another $50,000 number called tax valuation or something, and it's been sitting here for years, never been used. And when we have the discussions, we always say, well, is it earmarked for something, is it not earmarked for something? My gut tells me it's not, it's been tucked away, it's there, it's sitting there. So there's about $1.1 million of cash, big chunk of it is the school. So at the end, when we do the budget, I think the question is, we all have to agree, what do we do with this? Okay? There's also the unused ordinances of 400, which I think you took 200 for the grant, give or take, some round numbers, right? You pulled
we
those.
canceled some ordinances,
Right,
yeah.
and then you use them for the grant, so maybe there's still 200 there. So, so how can we use this cash if we decide to, because I can't find the schedule right now, but I will. So if we say, all right, there's $1.1 million and we want to take 500 out, we want to put 500 in the capital fund for the intersection, how do we do that? We just take it out?
see, the reason why I think this money would be earmarked is because it's separated. If it wasn't earmarked, it would have been just rolled into surplus years ago. So I think before any decisions are made,
Well,
I know you guys.
the million is for the sale of the school.
Okay.
So we sold the school,
So then why didn't that get taken in?
We can't, that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of, was why it's
This
still.
this goes back to 1988, when it was sold. All right, so it's been sitting there for 30 years.
here it
The
is.
earmark has long come and gone, if there was
Yeah,
one.
well, we don't know what the earmark was, if
Right.
there ever was.
Yeah.
So,
If I
A23,
might, I
Schedule
know-
A23
May I?
is one.
Go ahead, Mary Ann.
Just in speaking with the former Mayor Sopwitz, in her mind, it was intended to be used for a capital project, so that you don't have a one hit and distort your budget. by taking it in to surplus, it was designed to be used for a big capital project. And you certainly have a bunch of them on the table right now.
Yes, so,
So,
So this is where you're saying it's
Yeah,
sitting.
so-
So it sounds like we could use it for intersection as certainly a capital
I
improvement.
guess my thing is this, there's money around regardless, I really don't want to focus on any discussions around what the former mayor did and wanted, because I get it. But right now it's here, and I want to know what we can pull out. Not that we would pull it all out, but can we pull it out? When can we pull it out? What's the mechanics to pull it out, is my question before we go in. Because at the end of the day, when we're finished with the budget, as Peter said, we have surplus that we're going to pull in, which we do. We have other money. I saw you use Town Day against the reserves, and, you know, so there's stuff that you did start to pull back. so.
Correct. Yep.
But this is a big number here in this schedule.
Yeah, I think over time, there have been reserves established that may have been earmarked for a project at some point and never been utilized. But to Bob's point, this $1 million, you know, stands out because it's such a large number. And at one point, the comment was made, it's a revenue producer, it's, you know, we're getting interest income. You know, our interest income is effectively zero at this point, based on current rates. And, you know, we have $1 million that we could really, without impacting the taxpayers, you know, accomplish quite a bit if we do it properly, you know, which is for us to decide. But in terms of flowing it, to Bob's point, how do we get this money unlocked from the balance sheet?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to get back to you because we're gonna have to check to see if a rider exists. So like at the state level, if this money's actually earmarked. So I'll reach out to a few people and see how we can access it.
I
That
guess
being
it's
said-
accessing that and some of the other reserves Bob's was
Yeah, he's
what
got-
Bob was talking
Well, I mean,
about.
that's what it is. It's about checking to actually see if these reserves are really reserves.
and just so you, and recall that we mentioned that Peter and I met with Ashley to discuss this very purpose in the budget process, and you have not yet received the revenue schedule. The intent was during that conversation, that meeting we had, was to draw on all these reserves, because we have the same thinking as you, is why should they be sitting there? They're not doing us any favors, and pull them in to alleviate the tax burden. You haven't seen that sheet of the budget yet because we haven't been able to complete that exercise. And in fact, one of the things yesterday, Ashley and I have been discussing is outside billing. Just yesterday, I came across something that suggests there's, you know, over $200,000 sitting in that account. And we have to Ashley and I have to be able to make sure we're on the same page if I'm reading it correctly. And we have to go through that. In fact, that's one of the things I'm gonna do while I'm sitting up here, is to try to figure it out. So anyway, we started this discussion already.
So as part of the scope of work that needs to be done, not just for the budget, but just overall, in addition to scrubbing the ordinances to see if there's availability, has the balance sheet, you know, been looked at? I mean, it's accounted for, it's in the, you know, it's in our financials. I guess the question is there a project, or is there an effort that needs to be undertaken to scrub the balance sheet to see what those balances are, and there, you know, if there's a true need?
I think the most important thing that you guys can do is decide how much money you want to save. I mean, you're talking about spending and spending. I don't want to see you deplete all of your reserves, all of your, like, little safety net. I think it's important to decide how much you want to keep as a surplus and maintain year to year to year. And then from that, work on a spending plan.
Well, I guess,
So not to spend it all in 1 year, not to,
Yeah, I don't think that's the intent.
I don't think our intent is to close out all these past ordinances that are just sitting there in limbo, if they
Right.
can be closed, and put that money, I guess, into surplus.
so, okay, so.
We want to go through, I guess what It's a
right?
process, and I guess what Mike is asking is, is if it's a detailed process and you need a budget to do it, we'd like to know that, because we'd like to close out all these ordinances and take all these funds and put them into one pot, instead of having them sit in multiple, ordinances that are, like this 1988 ordinance for this $1 million. It's kind of insane that, all these years later, it's still sitting out there. But we want to move that so we can have access to it. We're not saying we're going to spend all the money. We want to keep it as,
Well, I think it's important to decide
Yeah.
first how much you want to maintain.
but I think we want to go through all the ordinances and
Let's see what
close
the
them.
number is,
Yeah,
and then we can decide, okay, we got $5 million sitting here doing nothing. Let's save $1 million, and then you have, then it's just a rough number, people.
Yeah.
Let's see what we want to do with the $4 million.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
We're definitely going to keep a reserve for
Yeah.
emergencies.
Yeah, we're not saying we're gonna
That's unaffected, but we have to see what we have in our back pocket.
Yeah.
Before we can say we
I
want to
think
spend
it's,
something.
again, like, plan ahead. It's not just this year. We want to make sure we have a spending plan
Absolutely,
for
yeah,
To
the
use your
future.
example,
Sure.
Steve, I would say,
Okay.
yeah, if we have 5, let's do $1 million a year over a 5-year thing of spending it down.
But we're going to keep a healthy reserve
Of
for
course,
emergencies.
right.
We're going to do that. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Academically, is there a number that should be in reserve?
Oh, yeah.
Is it,
That's a big
The $1
question.
million question.
but, we can decide,
Well, I
is it-
think some research should be done to see what other towns that have high credit ratings, how much they reserve, and kind of see across the board what other towns are doing, because we don't want to spend all our money.
No, we don't wanna be like drunk
And
sailors.
then our credit rating
Right.
drops. We
No.
want to maintain a
Sure.
healthy
Absolutely.
financial
So there's not
standing.
a formula for the
Not in my brain.
municipalities?
Oh, no, not that I know.
No, there's a minimum, the state sets a minimum of what our surplus should be, correct? I mean,
I don't think so.
don't they have like a set, when I was reading this, like a set, like, what they consider their, what they'd like to see all municipalities have as a minimum? Maybe I'm reading it
I think
incorrectly.
no, I think these are things that have been thrown out, but we don't really know.
Okay.
That's probably how towns get into trouble, is there isn't a minimum.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
agree, but we do need to identify
Yeah.
where it is, that it's not.
Yeah, I think we should
This
have.
pocket and that suit, and this pocket and that suit in a different closet.
Yeah,
and
like,
so on
like
and so
if we
forth.
stay on Steve's example, how much ever dollars it is, the council would like to have that finally identified, and also to know, like what you were saying, Ashley, is it available for us to take it? Because if it's earmarked for something, do we need to cancel what it was earmarked if it's not viable anymore? If it's something we've already done, or it's a repetitive ordinance, like we don't need to buy another generator because we bought one already, but there's an ordinance there for a generator. We want to know that so we can go through the books and cancel that out and
Yeah,
do that.
Actually, you as the CFO, once we have that picture, I'd like to get a recommendation from you to say how you see, us spending it down once we identify the amount.
Yeah, on this schedule, A23, there's $1 million from the school, but then it says insurance recoveries, which is just a generic term, $43,000. Motor vehicle inspection fees, $54,000, and tax map evaluation. So you add them up, you're talking $150,000. That
It's
is
a lot of
sitting
money.
here, sitting here, which I guarantee are earmarked for nothing. They just somehow got thrown up on the balance sheet for some rainy day. So, I mean, I would take that out. In this budget process, I'm gonna suggest to the council, and the council could suggest if they agree or not, but that's $150,000 that just should go away. It's meaningless. The $1 million is a different story. It's a big number. We're not gonna say, yeah, let's take it all in. But, so that's one piece right there that I think should go away. And then there are other trust funds that are sitting around. I think we're over accrued in our unemployment fund because, we have 100,000 plus thousand, and we spend 10,000 a year. It's just, all these pockets just need to be identified and say, okay, we don't need them. Your advice, or we do need them. That's all we're going to do.
Okay.
And again, we're not here as a spending spree. It's just we want to clean this stuff up and know exactly what the amount of money is and finally have a definitive answer of what it is.
The point is this, that the residents of the Township of Washington have been taxed and have put money out of their own pocket, and this stuff's been sitting there for years. And in my opinion, they're double taxed on this cash. And we want to get that down to, we're only taking what we need to function as a government to give the services that a government should give their residents. And that's it. We're not in a profit-making mode, and the government never should be. And right now, that's what the Township of Washington government is. They've made a profit of, I don't know what the number is, I'll just say a couple $1 million, and that shouldn't be. Zero out the balance, you know, spend it on what we need to spend it on, and then from here forward, tax the residents what we need to operate. There should not be extra pockets of money somewhere. Obviously, we want to keep something for a rainy day. God forbid there's an emergency, or we have to replace, I don't know, a roof on something. But again, we're not in the business of making a profit on the residents of the Township of Washington.
Okay, just one other question, Ashley. This is an Ashley Mary Ann question. So the surplus of 5.2 million, we have discussions and it's like, and I think I asked you this, but you weren't sure, maybe I didn't phrase it right. So if we, to simplify, if we wanted to take $5.2 million tomorrow, could we, or you have to go back, you can't take something that's a year old or 2 years old, you have to go back like, is there a time period that you have to go back to first?
Not that I know of.
Okay, so,
I don't know.
so this
Well,
was.
if you have a carryover from the year before, you
Something
can't
about
spend it the
surplus.
following year,
So
right?
when we talk about the surplus,
Yes.
we've always, you've mentioned something, paraphrasing, you have to go back like in 2 years before you have to take stuff 2 years, you can't take last year's, that has to sit for 2 years. There was like some
Okay.
time
It
period.
never hits surplus until it goes through appropriated reserves in the year after the budget year. So right now, 2017 unspent funds
Can't touch
are
it
sitting in an
2019.
account called appropriated reserves. So that in the normal course of business, you can spend down what it was due related to 2017 that may not have been billed to 2018. When 2018 ends, whatever's left flows into surplus. So you can touch whatever in surplus. Well, your comments relate to how and when it gets into surplus. It doesn't arrive into surplus until it hasn't been spent for a year after it was budgeted. So on the rollover in 2017, whatever was left over in 2016
Is there.
from the budget went into surplus. So that's why there's that accumulation,
Okay.
because I know, I was told, you don't want to hear it, but every year she wanted 1.3 to 1.5 unspent to flow into surplus.
I understand. Okay. Okay. If we may. So, I kind of like the format that we did the last 2 years, which was just go page by page and account by account, so we don't lose track.
If I can just sneak a question in, and I'm not sure whether to ask either one of you. If we go that route, are we going to eliminate certain departments where you want the department head here to explain their part? Has the
Yeah,
council
I
made a
think-
decision on that?
No, I think as we go through it, and we have questions, and we're not happy with it,
Okay.
then we could always bring them back. for
Okay,
sure,
okay.
And then we can schedule, we
Oh.
can do something where you come in.
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted a department head here for their whole budget or just for the questions that we might
I mean,
have. Okay, that's
We might
fine.
have no questions for one department and several for others. And I don't
Okay.
think,
Okay.
really, if we can get them the questions and a response back, I think that would be fantastic. But if we have, a question and then there might be a lead-up question, you might want
Right.
to have them in. If it gets
Okay.
more complicated.
Okay.
I don't
Bob,
think they
before-
need to be-
Just to differ, I think when we do police, DMF, we have admin here.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I was thinking at least
should
those
have,
two for all their
you know,
line items,
The chief.
because they are so big.
And Bill, and because flagging and iterating, just, I would propose that we get, the
That's
chief
fine.
and Bill.
Right.
I think those two departments, which are the biggest departments,
Right.
pretty much,
And
are.
fire's pretty big too.
Fire also, fire, yes,
Very-
fire,
And it's
fire.
very specific.
Yeah, so fire should be here also.
Absolutely, otherwise we're going back.
And then this way we can have them just answer the questions and be done with it instead of going.
Well,
So-
while Ashley's here, I don't know if you want to focus or release her or focus.
That's what I was gonna ask Bob,
Answer
if we-
tax collection, tax collector.
We have any specific things we,
I don't know what that means.
Do you want to go over my budgets while I'm here, is what she's saying?
You have a budget? Which is your budget?
Oh, well, that's what I said, I didn't
All right.
ask for
You
much
guys are
more,
really
but.
gonna, throw me for a loop. so-
Actually, I could
What
get it,
page?
I really didn't know Ashley was gonna be here, so I could give her, and I wanna make a comment that I realized when I went to talk to the mayor about this. There is an ask in the line for the CFO that was not asked and requested. It should be zero there. The recommend was what Peter put in for
saw that.
75,000. That was not requested by Ashley. Ashley has no idea that amount is in there.
So,
And I'm gonna go upstairs and get you a copy of what they're looking at. Or you can look at mine.
It's,
So do you want to start here, Ashley, page 9?
We're on page 9.
I'm guessing it kind of
Is it
looks like
page 9,
that's where
Mary Ann?
your
Her
stuff
stuff?
starts.
Yeah, this one.
we're on page, the tax
I don't
code.
have this.
No, that's why
No,
I'm saying,
I think-
you know, we could share it.
Okay. But I'll also give you a copy if you wanna make notes.
yes.
Yes, 9. This way, Ashley's only here for an hour, Bob, if you don't mind. Sorry to throw a monkey wrench into your plans.
Whatever it takes.
I don't think I asked for an increase in, I think it was $300 for Joy, anticipating her getting her tax collector license to maintain her credits.
Okay.
I think I
Yeah,
put
that was in
money-
training, I remember.
training, and think I wanted new chairs in my office, pretty please. I think I asked for some money for that, but those were the only two.
So there's
Well-
subscriptions in book for 289, there's dues, meetings, conferences, there's actually, last year we put 250.
What page are you on about?
I'm on 10.
10.
Travel expenses 100, so finance, furniture and equipment is 400, I assume that's your chair.
It says new chairs, it does say that.
Okay.
Can we just order those chairs before we
So,
get,
so everybody wants new chairs, just so you understand.
We've been wanting them for years.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean-
every budget has new chairs, so I want to ask about buying consolidated.
yeah, can we just buy can we buy the whole building new chairs since they're 30
Like
years
we
old,
did
probably?
As soon as
way
the
we
budget's
did
approved.
The way we did the.
Wow.
What you we call it, what did we just do, we consolidated, the computers. the way
Yes.
we-
Yes.
Okay, so there's training, $1,000.
Give me a line item, Bob. So I did follow along.
It's 2130, 370 on page 10, about a little less than down below.
Bob, are you just reviewing, or are we
No,
actually
I'm throwing it-
making?
No, I'm throwing it out to Ashley and see what she thinks.
But are we going to approve right while
Yes.
she's here? Okay.
Yeah, if you agree with all this. That's why you asked for chairs, so there's your 400. There's the,
So we're saying we're good with that? I just want to make my proper notes. Is that what we're going to approve?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, so there's training, $1,000 for somebody, Ashley.
Yeah,
That we
I
never
think
spent.
that was for Joy
That was
and,
probably for Joy's classes.
correct.
Okay, and then there's some printing and miscellaneous.
Are you used to reading this document? Do you know what it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find columns here.
Okay.
So we're good with the training for 1,000, right? I can
Yeah.
check that off?
Yep.
This was
Okay.
last year ask and what was spent,
Right.
and then this year what you asked and what I recommended also.
Okay.
So printing is, we didn't do it, but we have 100 just in case you need something. It's not a big whoop. And miscellaneous is 200. We put in money, nothing happened, so we gave you another 100 just in case.
Can
Do
we
you
go?
foresee anything you don't know about? Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I was going to say, going back up to the middle of the page above training, the payroll services.
Mhm.
So we've been budgeting,
That's
Yeah.
really a Mary Ann question.
Yeah, and she budgeted that based on actual. She was able to get through 2017 and know what we're going to need for
She
2018,
just
so
looked
that's
out the
actual.
window,
Okay.
so it's-
So,
So let's jump up to the top, Ashley, for a minute. Subscriptions, books, and things. You need things, obviously.
Yeah, these are, I wanted a set of both the tax collector books and the CFO books for the office.
Okay.
And so that's what these are.
Everybody okay with that?
It's a one-time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
It's 289, which is like an odd number.
it was an exact number.
Yeah.
I asked about that also.
Okay. And then dues, meetings, conferences. Do you need to have your team get out there and, for conferences?
Well,
Or is there money there that was never spent, so?
well, it was never spent because, I think between the training and the money I asked for CEUs, it should be fine.
Okay.
And we'll see where we go from there, basically.
Do we want to just keep the 2017 appropriation, gentlemen? That's what,
250, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah. Who's the seat used for?
Joy.
Joey?
So you're raising it 250. Is that your recommendation? You're on line 250, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Okay,
there's
we're
no
raising it
request and no
250?
recommend, so we put in 250, Peter.
You want to recommend 250 for that line?
Is that what you're asking for?
Okay.
To stay 250?
Yes.
Okay, so the mayor recommends 250 in that line, and we'll approve it, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And travel, we haven't spent anything, but, you know, I don't know, if you're gonna have dues and meetings and conferences, you should have travel, so.
Okay.
Yeah, with Joy going for the training, we pay for mileage.
Oh, so
also.
it's only it's $100.
Right.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay, furniture, equipment, so what are you buying, one chair, two chairs? Just something
Two for that.
How many chairs do you, is that, I guess Bob, we're gonna look at, we'd
That
like
does
to
the
look at a
whole
bulk.
office.
We're gonna look at Mary Ann, we wanna look at a bulk purchasing of chairs for all the departments. Like we did with the computers, because I think everybody, it's new chairs
Long
all over.
overdue.
It's new chairs all over the budget, so maybe if we could look at buying them in bulk through a state
Yes.
contract or something.
Okay.
I mean, we'll leave the appropriation there for her chairs, but we wanna
Yeah,
look
no,
at a
we just
bulk,
have to-
we wanna look at a bulk buy.
Yeah, but they're probably all
I think some
spread out.
departments have purchased already themselves.
Okay, so they would, but I think most departments need chairs according to what the budget says, so.
Okay, so we'll leave it for now, and just figure out a grand purchase, central purchase. Mary Ann, are you officially QP8 now?
No, I have one last class to take, finance, and so that's coming up in the fall, I mean, this spring, and then the exams right after that.
Okay. So the payroll service, Mike asked a question, Mike Ullman, and you weren't here.
Okay.
We said that's based on actual, I guess, what was
Well,
your
that was,
question, Mike?
actually had made a recommend, but the way the ordinances are written, finance must be doing payroll, but we do payroll over in my department. So, that's where it appears in the finance part of the budget, because it's like had been done in the past. I just, in the past 2 years, have made an effort to eliminate unnecessary reports and streamline the payroll process, so it was
Are you
reduced.
comfortable with the reduction?
Yes, it was my recommendation for
Okay.
reduction.
So 15,000.
Okay. Training, we said good.
Yep.
Printing, we put 100 for printing and 100 for miscellaneous, just going back to that. Not that it's anything, but if you have 100 to print, I don't know what you would print. but-
I think it might just be if, like, overages for the copier, is that possible?
that's different.
No, that's my
different?
budget.
But like, we all use the same copier, right?
No, I don't know what,
Do you want to send anything out to print, to send out to residents for tax collectors?
That wouldn't be enough money to do anything with anyways, to print $100.
So it's-
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's not gonna cost more than that.
So it's a meaningless number.
Yeah.
It's 200 letters.
I mean, then we'll take it out if it doesn't mean anything, and we'll put it somewhere else that does mean something.
Okay.
So 0?
Minus 100 at that line?
Why don't we just put it down into miscellaneous?
Make that 2?
Yeah,
That would be my suggestion.
Okay, miscellaneous 2, the other one 0.
so we're moving it to 500, right? Mike, is that what
Correct.
you're-
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Before we move off this page,
Yep.
can I just ask, I know there's quite a bit of material and reference online, and I do appreciate you want to bring in hard copies. Is there other reference material that you or Joy need that we should be bringing on? You know,
That's absolutely what I need right now.
I mean, that sounds like an absolute minimum. Is there more? Is there a need to have a library upstairs
I
To
don't
do-
think so. I mean,
to function?
no, I don't think so.
Okay.
So buying these volumes for the 289 should cover you at least for 2018 for now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So that was 10, right? So 9?
Well, we had the financial services fee on the last line of 10.
Okay, so financial, that's Clerk Finchley?
or whoever does the
Right. So,
AFS, ABS budget.
so we went from 6 to 17 on this one.
Hold on, let's look at
It was
these.
20, it was 24, 28, 19.
It's on
all over
page-
the place.
So if we go to page 20 on what is it, Steve?
I'm sorry.
If you go to page, no, what'd you say?
Marion, have we
No, I'm
paid
saying,
everything
if you go,
that's
if you
on
look
that
at the
line item
past,
for last
No.
year? Right.
you got for 2015, right? We got 28. For 2016, it was 24. Then it went down to 6.
Last year we
Well,
took it down.
I just asked
Right.
Mary Ann, we
And we went
haven't,
up.
that 6,000 is not the total yet for last year.
Okay, so we have outstanding?
So
Correct.
it's on
Well,
page-
yeah, that's like I just mentioned in the beginning, the
Right.
AFS and the ADS have not been charged yet, that would go to that
Right.
line.
Okay,
That's
well,
how it works
So it's
historically,
on
because it
page-
goes within
It's
the
on
year
page
end.
20.
I understand.
Yeah, so I think you're gonna spend the
Okay.
full 15,
All right.
So it's
absolutely.
last
I'm
year's
okay with
page
it.
20. So last year's page 20, we had financial consulting 1,000, Lerch Finzi 5,000, which was the budget, and 937 for the friendly budget. So and that was the total. So he's doing the friendly budget. The friendly,
That got, with this new upload into the FAST system, I think the user-friendly budget has gotten eliminated because the way that they're asking us to import our budget into the new portal is gonna extrapolate the information they wanted for the user-friendly. So basically, we're only gonna have to import our one budget, and then the information that we would have had to enter for the user-friendly is gonna be pulled from that.
okay. So that's $937 we don't
You're still going
Except that
down
we
on
don't
past
know,
need. This is gonna work.
I'm sorry, I interrupted.
yeah, I'm sorry. The time that it's gonna take to import this new budget, all these new documents into the FAST system, that's kind of unprecedented, so I don't know
Okay.
what, yeah,
Well, that's gonna work.
So
what that's gonna work.
so you
how
think
they're
we should
gonna
leave the
charge.
17 for this year to see how it goes, and then maybe look at next year, once you
Right.
have a year under your belt?
Right, and then
So, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
just so I understand. Right now, last year we spent 5,000 for the budget, which, is he still doing the budget, Lerch Finzi?
I believe so, yes, yes,
So
yes.
that's 5,000.
No, actually, I don't have the retainer in front of me. It might be slightly more.
Because we spent 5 for the budget, and we spent 1,000 for consulting, which I don't know what that's for, I guess that was just a general consulting, but that probably technically should go away to some extent, because you're dealing with Lou now. Questions?
Well, if Lou's charging us for his time,
He's not.
it's,
He doesn't charge you for questions.
okay. I'm not really prepared to speak on this.
I understand.
Okay.
So would you like us to flag this?
What are you asking? You want to know how you can
But we
reduce
spent
that?
6,900, we're saying 17, I'm saying we probably need 5 to 6 max.
No, you haven't
No, we
paid
didn't-
for
we didn't get the
the
bills
AFS
yet.
and the ADS yet.
Haven't paid for what?
The AFS and the ADS, because it just was getting done.
Okay, so how much is that?
We haven't-
You're gonna
Well,
use
that's
at
why I
least,
asked
the
if we
8,000 is
had
gonna
a
get
retainer.
used.
She's saying the 8,000 gonna
The
be.
8,000, you're gonna spend up to 15 on this.
Bob, you're still way below what it was in
I just want to
2016.
know what's open and what we're using.
I understand.
That's-
Just those bills haven't come in yet. That's
No.
what-
Correct.
They haven't come in yet, those
Yeah,
bills.
that's
I
what
know
I'm
what the
saying.
fees are. In fact, I was
Right.
going to do a PO just yesterday. I didn't get to it.
Why don't
Okay.
we see, let's just put this, we can always come back to it, put the 17 in, and then if you see the contract, Marion, let us know if it's.
Or do we
down,
match
up,
the
or around
15
same.
from last year?
Well, why don't we just flag it so?
Flag it, just flag it, and we'll come back.
Okay.
We'll just come back to it.
Come back with the consulting agreement or whatever agreement it is. Okay. Ashley, are we done with you? Or
The tax collector's budget is next.
where's that?
Right.
Follows.
Page 11.
Page 11, just flip the page.
110.
Oh, you have, the audit services number is based on Lou May's retainer agreement, so that, I think, is a,
Let's
you have to
give it-
address that one. It's at the very top of page 11.
Yep.
So that's contractual,
Yes.
Okay.
tax collector?
We have nothing for tax collector. Who is the tax collector?
Ashley. You had instructed me last year to
I'm just-
pay.
I didn't do it.
The tax collector?
No, Bob, you did. Last year you told me to pay her everything out of her CFO line. So this was funding to get for Judy Curran, who was the interim until Ashley was retained. So this was,
asking.
so we don't charge anything in payroll to this line. It does distort the
Okay,
cost
so
of
it's-
operating the
So
department.
it's zero and it goes somewhere else. For Ashley's
Goes
line.
under the CFO line item, right?
But it could change depending on other decisions that are made.
So is it zero and it goes to Ashley's line?
That's the way it is right
That's
now,
the
I
way it's
believe,
been
right?
handled.
Mhm, yeah.
Sorry, Ashley. All right, so
Free press.
part-time collector is, so no request, an admin is the admin recommended you, Peter, or Mary Ann?
Combination of both.
Well, actually, just so you know, admin recommend is how Edmund phrases it. This is the mayor's budget, where it says
I
admin
understand, I just wanna
recommendation,
make
that's
sure.
actually the mayor's budget, which he
Mary
had
and
the
I,
final say.
yeah, Mary and I are
Okay.
both versed on that column, and
So this is tax collector, part-time help.
5,000.
it's to staff the window quarterly for the
This
payments.
is Rosemary
Dare I ask who
Cunningham.
this is?
Rosemary Cunningham right now, at $16.50 an hour.
So, see, Mike had asked, for this, I guess, I don't know.
That was prepared for
Yeah,
Peter during the
I think this is probably
transition.
a separate conversation,
Yes.
because to try and figure out who's who now, and then, go back, so I guess we should say yes to, if we want this, and then figure out where all these people lie.
Well, it's actually in the order that the budget is, so you can follow, you see finance, all the people, you could go right to Rosemary Cunningham. Assistant to tax collector, $16.50, approximate 10 days during
What
tax
page?
season.
What page?
First
Page 1,
page.
right on first, right here,
First
Bob.
page,
Rob should right here.
Okay, all right.
Third from the bottom.
approximately 10 days during tax season for 7 hours, 7-hour days. So 70 hours times 4 times 1650, and there might be a cushion in there.
How much does that come out to, what you just said?
I'm doing it right now.
Okay.
So I might go grab his calculator.
So we said 70 times 4 times 16.5, 4620.
Yeah, so there's a
Yep.
slight cushion.
Everyone good with it? Okay.
And just so you know, there is another woman who does sit in the tax office 4 days a week, year-round, Mary Alice Clancy, who has been historically charged to administration, but really she does work over there and she does float when
So
Bernadette's out.
where is she?
She's in administration, but I just want to let you know there is other staffing, and of course Joy is there and goes between offices. But you don't need to budget, it's not budgeted in the tax collector's office. I
It's
thought
in-
about
It's
switching
in
it over.
administration, yeah.
But she's the floater in the administration line. I didn't want to
Oh,
distort it
that's the
too much.
floater?
Yeah, she does do some work for administration, she does do tree permits.
Who's she report to?
It's interesting because I'm debating, I don't really, technically she would report to me, but I don't feel like I should do her evaluation because Joy delegates to her. So,
And you?
Well, Joy handles the staffing in the tax office.
And Joy reports to you.
Mhm.
So then Mary Alice ultimately reports to you.
I guess so.
Okay.
It's removed.
Okay, so the assistant to the tax collector is zero, but it's somewhere else, correct?
correct.
Okay, so that one's good? Ladies and gentlemen, ladies? Okay. This next line, is this next Ashley still?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay, so office supplies, requested 1,000. Now, does this request you, just so I understand, or did we just?
It was from the prior year. I know that we wanted to get a few more calculators. We were having a difficult time getting things approved.
Okay, somewhere I saw that somebody wanted manila folders too, which again, I think, I always say this every year, we should centralize our purchasing, so
you'll see that's done.
do you need $1,000 or $750? They chop you down a little bit.
I think 750 would be fine.
Fine?
Mhm.
Postage, we took out.
We're moving,
So
it's all to
centralized.
administration if we can.
Centralized.
Subscription and books,
Same thing, a one-time purchase.
so 113, I guess that's actual.
Yes.
Yeah. Ashley submitted order forms for the specific purchases.
Dues meetings, 600?
Same thing, kind of to accommodate Joy's,
Gentlemen, you okay with that?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think personal development is something we should really emphasize with the staff. So if there is
Absolutely.
meetings or conferences that would benefit their skill set and benefit the town, I think we should certainly allocate for it. So if 600, again, if 600's enough, that's great. If the 113 is enough, but if there's,
If there's more, Ashley, please let us know, because I'm a big proponent of professional development, and I think all our employees should, you know.
I'm good with professional development, but just what's happened in the past, we've had people get professional development, and they moved on after a limited time after the professional development.
well, that's,
That's a gamble you
I
always take,
understand it's a
Mr.
gamble.
Casio.
But we,
I understand it's a gamble, but let me finish. You know, we can have a clause somewhere, if you leave X months after the professional development, we might want to have a recall, a reimbursement.
we do
They
have
do
that.
it?
We do have the policy.
We do
That's-
have that.
We do have a policy, and
And what is
since
that policy?
it's in the personnel manual, and since I've started, I developed a form where when an employee puts in for a course
Right.
towards a certification, they sign to say that if they leave
What's the
less than 2 years after
Okay.
they've attained the certification, that they will refund half the cost of the course, and it will be taken by a payroll
Payroll.
withholding.
Okay.
I have that in place.
Well, thank you.
Did we all get a copy of the most recent, your recent update?
I
of the
didn't
handbook?
have a chance to do it because I'm waiting for input on the background check policy.
Because that wasn't in the most current one I have, so,
What? Yes,
in the handbook.
yeah, there's a
in
tuition
there?
yes, it is, absolutely. That's how
Okay. I must go look.
I've done my best. I think I mentioned
Okay.
that when I first started, I read the manual cover to cover and noticed that there were a lot of policies that were not
Okay.
being
I must admit-
employed the way they were
Well,
written.
maybe reading the 7 that I had prior to that didn't have it,
Okay.
so I just kind of carried it on, but I'm glad that's in there, and that's.
No, it's in there,
Yeah.
and I have done it for,
Because as you know, there was a problem in the past with that. And again, I'm.
oh, I've been a victim of it.
Yeah, I'm okay with paying for professional development as long as it helps the town. I have no problem with spending, we're kind of lax on that in the past, right, Mr. Ullman? We haven't really spent anything
I
on
believe so.
our employees, so.
Well, just on that note, I was told that I had to pay for my QPA courses, which were needed for this job, out of my own pocket. And then Mayor Sopwith approved it, but then ultimately held on to it, and it was one of the missing pieces of paper. And that was Mayor Calamari approved it because
Good,
it was, silly.
okay.
We've got
That's
to
good. That's
encourage
a good
all the
thing.
professional development that.
Yeah,
that
as
we
long
can
as as
possibly
long as it pertains to their
for the
job
people.
description,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they need it to further their career, we should absolutely
That's
be
good.
proponents of professional development. I'm all for it.
Plus, the networking is invaluable.
Absolutely,
As soon as,
yeah, absolutely. Just going to those League of Municipality, seminars and meeting other people from different towns is very important for, like you said, Marion, for networking, and it's an invaluable tool.
Well, we've been an island unto ourselves for many a year.
I emphasize that with all the department heads I met with, training, with the council's on board with training, so, put in for it, and you'll get to spend it this year.
So the last one was April 2016, is that your last one?
Yes, there was a supplemental, like a one-page insertion regarding vacation policy that you would have gotten that maybe you didn't attach in, but, no, I have to revise it regarding to address something with dispatcher hours, and I was holding off on reissuing it.
Okay.
In fact, I owe one to Michael and Art, because you are also bound by it. And I am aware, I've been, just at the last council meeting, a resident made a comment about social media. And so I also want to make sure everybody remembers to read there are policies regarding social media and use of it. And I'll get you copies as soon as possible, because I want you two both to know. I don't know what that's involving, but it's suggested
Yeah,
that.
we kind of
we need a
detoured,
refresh.
but we
Ashley
don't have a
needs
lot
to-
more of Ashley's time, so
Okay,
maybe we
sorry.
should finish her part of the budget.
It was extra. Okay, assistant tax collector, we did, office supplies, we did, right? Yeah, okay, so we're on page 12.
12, yes.
Travel?
We didn't do travel.
Yeah, travel
So we
kind
should
of
put
goes
travel.
over the page.
Where is travel?
Travel flips the page.
Flips the page, it's the first line on page
So
12.
we should add money if you're gonna go to conferences. Well, we did 1,300 last year. That was
You know
on
what that
page-
is? That was Joy.
It's on page 21.
Joy had paid out of pocket to attend various tax collector courses, and she was, there was a hint that she should not submit, and then when other employees were approved, I told her to submit.
Okay.
So that was a one-year deal?
Yeah, that was to catch up on all of her courses for tax
Does she
collector.
need more tax collector courses this year, Joy?
No, I asked her, she's done, I think.
She's done?
We just put money in for somebody, didn't we? We put dues, meetings, and conferences, so we should put a corresponding travel number in case somebody goes somewhere, right?
That's true. Yeah, we do have a policy to reimburse at the IRS
You wanna
rate.
put
I- that was
$200 in
another-
there?
Ask,
Mr.
Peter
Mayor, would you like
how
to
much
put
he wants to put in.
$200 there?
Well, I'm going to ask Ashley first, and then, since she's here.
Probably goes to
Sure.
Atlantic City and other places.
How far is Atlantic City?
150 miles each way?
So 300 divided by 2 is 150, so 200, 250,
Okay,
250?
250.
If you go over, we'll find it, $50 somewhere, don't worry about it. Furniture, so.
So that's a plus 250
Plus
recommended from the administration, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Furniture and equipment, we had in another line item before.
Yeah, we should just
So I-
really do, like Peter said somewhere, walk through and buy chairs and see what everybody
Mhm,
needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Ashley.
I was just gonna say, I asked for 2 chairs for the desks that Joy and I sit at most of the time.
We're gonna look at all the chairs.
Okay, so then that's,
If we buy you 2 and we don't buy other 2, they're gonna get rid. All right,
I'm flabbergasted, sorry, gentlemen.
Sounds like my
That's not
grandchildren.
true. That wouldn't be the case with our employees. but-
I can't believe we can't buy chairs, I'm sorry.
you haven't
Well,
seen
we
it.
we can now.
We can now.
To tell you
seen
the
the rest
truth,
of
I
this.
don't recall anybody in the last 2 years asking for new chairs that was
Okay.
denied.
250.
I think it was the general spirit.
Spirit of
Do
things.
anything.
Because they knew not to, because it wasn't going to happen
This
anyway.
is not an uncommon problem.
Yeah.
It can just come from another municipality.
All right, so training, 145,370 is the account,
Yep.
$1,000. We're all good with that? Somebody's gonna be trained here?
Yep,
yep.
tax bills.
$4,000 for tax bills.
Yeah, that was, if you recall, I wanted to outsource the printing and mailing, and that didn't happen, so that's why that wasn't spent.
So did we ever do, I know there was a savings there somewhere at one time, right? That you were gonna outsource or do something?
No, I wanted to, and then the same thing, it never get to
So are
happen.
we gonna do it, or we?
The
I
4,000
would, I mean,
covers
I
us
would
for
like
that.
to.
It
Yeah.
should be
I
cheaper,
think
but we'll
so.
leave the 4,000, okay? 4,000?
Well, if we did in 2016, we did it in-house, right, for 2,800. And you think outsourcing is gonna be less expensive?
No, I think it's gonna be the 4,000, because that was the number we had gotten quoted for the prior year. I don't think,
I think the $2,800 number has other things going into it that aren't being accounted for in that exact line,
Yeah, and
possibly.
were we depending on volunteers to do some of that? Is that why it's
That's
low?
why, that's why I'm.
That's why I'm glad
Yeah.
the 4,000 is the.
Make it less expensive.
It is
but
less
there's-
expensive, because I think there's
Okay.
other people getting involved in that 2,800 that's not
That
being
kept it
accounted.
artificially low a little.
And I understand that, but I
Yeah.
wanna make sure that, you know,
The 4,000 is fully
4,000 is
outsourced, and it
fully,
gets
and
it
we don't
done.
have to ask volunteers to do the.
Right.
right,
Stuffing.
stuffing, you know.
Okay. I'm okay with 4,000 for line 460.
Okay, 0 for printing, good.
Yep, miscellaneous, 850.
What did we spend it on last time? It wasn't miscellaneous?
Tax sale advertisement was $400. There was some monies spent for volunteers,
Almost for the lunch.
We fed them.
refreshments and things like that.
I'm good with it. Everyone good with it?
Yeah, there's also $43 for lien recording fee, I guess that just keeps going. A bunch of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them?
Well, they're in
Some of them
now.
are
She voided
reversed.
them. It only hit the budget once, and actually it went back in. She must have made a mistake with the way it was
Okay, so, right,
recorded.
yeah, it's Food Town. Okay. 850?
Yep.
Yeah.
Software licenses for Edmonds.
That's set by them.
Is this the same license, same software, do we need upgrades?
I think we got all our
Yeah, I
upgrades.
think we're
didn't we?
covered.
Yes, we might need to upgrade our server on the capability to allow outside access.
Which server, the total company server?
Yeah, the,
Total town server?
right,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
And
But no,
changing
but as
IT
far as software
companies.
programs, we're up to speed on what we need for Edmonds.
Mary Ann, just a quick
Yes.
question. It was at 1,200 the last 3 years, and then it bumped up last year. You know why it bumped
It was
up?
yeah, because it wasn't, one of the modules that related to tax collection had been charged to another line, and
Oh,
I
okay.
reallocated it to this line. You'll see a decrease in
Okay.
historical spending in
Okay.
another line.
Thank you.
3405?
Yep.
Okay,
That's
tax
it.
assessor.
That's not actually.
Nope. Okay, Ashley, I think she needs to leave. She only has a
Thank
limited
you.
time, so.
Thanks for all the
Thank you
help.
for all your help,
Thank
Ashley.
you
Good
very
luck,
much.
guys.
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Have a nice day.
Want to take a break for a second?
Yeah, you want, everybody okay with a 5-minute break?
Take a 5-minute
Yeah,
break.
stretch our
If you
legs.
wish.
You let Ricky know?
Thanks, Ashley.
Why we take-
Yes, thank you.
Have a
Thank
nice
you very
weekend.
much.
why we take- First one, hold.
Yep.
Well, you're gonna go right down, I'll focus you. Other expenses starts at the bottom of the page. The first item is office supplies.
But let's just go back to floating staff for a minute, because that's like,
Oh, I thought you were gonna, okay.
well, yeah, but that's like, so just who is all, that's all, is that here?
Yes.
Okay, it's on your sheet?
Yeah,
Okay.
it parallels, it should match up in the order that it
It's there.
appears. You'll
Okay.
see.
Okay, good. So grant consultant, we have nothing here. Last year, we put money in. So Mary Ann, when you say transfers included in appropriation, I asked you this question, is that what we did in our temporary budget? Is that what that means, that note?
No, that would be a transfer resolution that you adopted before the end of the last year or the beginning of this year. So that's how that is booked in the system. So the money was unspent and it was needed somewhere else, so we put
Okay.
it somewhere else. You'll
All
see a 6,000 in somewhere else. I don't remember off the top of my head where it went.
Okay.
I think it was something to do with COA perhaps.
So in this grant consultant, we put money in, it didn't go anywhere. We spoke to the other author and the woman, I
Yes.
forget her name.
Marlene.
Are we anywhere with that?
Yes, we're trying to set up a date with Marlene to come in to, let us know what grants are out there and, get a firm thing of her rate schedule and like that.
So who's meeting with that?
To be determined once we get a date.
Because I think when they had the other ones, was it you and I and the mayor?
Yeah, the three of
As
us.
a
And
committee.
Pete, if you have time, I'd like to sit in with her when you have a
Of
meeting.
course, of
If
course.
that's okay. And then
Can she come to a council meeting?
Yes.
she came with Assemblyman.
Yeah, I think, Marlene is, I've worked with Marlene for many years, and she provides a tremendous service, because all the money she gets here for 10% is better than the money you didn't get.
Right.
Sure.
So, I've always thought, she provides a great service in some of the
You know her?
municipalities. Yes, I know Marlene very well.
The only thing is, there are certain things that we've in the past gotten without incurring costs,
it's
even
a fine
close to
line.
10%.
Yeah, I wanna-
So if we had the capability.
Between what the engineer applies for with DOT and like that, I want to make sure they're on the same page, that they're both applying
and
for the same stuff.
That's okay. If we can
Yeah.
use the engineer within our budget,
Right.
that's fine, but I
Right.
don't want to spend extra for.
Right, I don't want to give her
The en-
10% for something that the engineer does.
Well, not only that, but I don't
for-
want to spend
Well,
the money on the engineer and get,
Yeah.
and get a grant for being, charged for it above line.
Correct.
Usually they should do it,
Right.
with within their salary guidelines.
So we're budgeting nothing.
Yeah, that's why I'd ask if she could come to a council meeting and meet.
No, but if you meet
Yeah, I
if you meet
think,
separately, it's easier.
yeah, and then after that, maybe she can
Yeah,
come,
that's
but I
fine.
think a
Yeah, let
little
me know.
pre-meeting.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good, excellent.
Okay, Department of Admin, other expense on the bottom.
That was an easy page.
Let me just see, so that's nothing, so office supplies, there's no line for that.
It's on
No,
the
it
next
is,
page.
it's next page.
Next
Oh,
page.
it is, doesn't
Right,
it?
carries on.
The next one is 210 now, 200.
It's the same
It's the
thing.
same
that's-
line.
It's office supplies, the title.
See, there's no
At the very
number.
bottom.
100, 200. The one
That's the
above-
control account.
That's
That
control.
just is a control account.
All right.
It's like a heading.
So 210, office supplies.
So 100-210, request is 2,500. 2,500 is recommended. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm okay.
Just, there's a note, as opposed to doing this in aggregate, that we should keep each department separate?
Yes, I was asked by Peter to ascertain whether certain things should be consolidated in admin. And I spoke to Mr. May, and he said that especially now that the FAST system is being employed and everybody can view and compare, most towns keep everything separate, and that his recommendation was to keep things in separate departments so they're comparable to other towns.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking to
You make a
do,
decision
So
that
that's the recommendation
compares.
of Mr. May.
Yes.
okay, excellent.
yeah, because I think in prior years, we said, let's try and get office supplies down to one line, and, but his recommendation was not to do that.
I will tell you that last year's spending did include a lot where we were charged to the admin. I tried to consolidate, just because it's easier. I think there should be one supply closet. But
I agree.
I know I've said to people before they start purchasing, I said, okay, I think
Check the
so-and-so,
supply
this
closet.
department has like 20 rolls of Scotch tape, go there first. So that's what we're
Or,
doing.
or if someone needs a toner, not realizing someone else has a printer the same that uses
Yeah.
the same toner, check the closet.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, admin postage, 220, 5,000.
So line 100-220 postage.
Good.
Are you okay with it?
Good.
240 subscriptions,
Good.
Good.
450 in dues and conferences.
That's line 250, correct, Mr. Rhodes?
Yeah, sorry, $450, line 250. This is for, so this, is this league conferences?
Yes,
Okay, is that enough? Is that good?
yes.
Okay. Yes, gentlemen?
Yes,
Okay.
Travel managed stipend, that's a given.
good.
Fixed, right, Marion?
Yes, although, as I mentioned to you, I'd be fine doing actual, but you didn't want to take it away for other departments, so if you're going to keep it for other people, keep it.
Okay, 600, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay, admin copy machine.
There's there's a
uh,
note there.
Yeah, so it's $141 per month. Is still the same? That we've done that last year, same amount?
Yeah, it's a multi-year
Is it
lease with no increases.
Okay.
So, I know when I was in here in the summer, we always had this overage conversation. Like, you know, and at one time, I think we asked the clerk to play personally.
Well, we didn't.
I know. So we have no more overage issues? I mean, we're just gonna use copy machines? Do we-
Yeah, and the mayor has made a point to say to me that no one's going to be
No, I
penalized
see.
for overages.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we built in a little for overages, but hopefully that's the last we hear of overages.
Yeah, I don't know, the
You know, you
suggestion
spend, you
that
spend the
people
money,
were.
so the health department has 2,000, the clerk has just 2,000 sheets, and the clerk, so you take it from one to the other, does it matter? It's still money spent, it's still paper.
Correct, yeah.
Well-
Why are we fighting over it?
Well, what I would say is that if certain, like the machine for admin has a higher threshold, I had told the police when they were having issues, you should be gauging it, and when you
Right.
see you're approaching your max, make all your copies up by me.
Sure,
'cause we don't.
exactly.
You don't hit your max.
No, but I think unfortunately people aren't paying attention to that because they're too busy trying to do
Right.
everything else, so. But I think everybody's sensitive to it for sure. No one is making copies for personal
I
items,
understand,
so.
And we're not spending even hundreds of dollars in
No.
overages, so.
No.
$10.
Yeah,
Frankly, I
right.
never understood. I thought the
Yeah.
suggestion was that people were doing either wasting on purpose or,
No,
doing
some
personal
departments
business, which is
obviously
not
uses more
happening.
than others, so
Right, yeah.
that's
It's not happening.
But this is something, I know I mentioned this, is try to consolidate our contracts to get, like, you know, we're gonna print in all the buildings X amount of copies, period.
It's per unit because of the service of the
Yeah.
toners included.
Okay,
But we all do them all under state contract, so we are hopefully getting the best deal.
okay.
Are most of the machines in the building the same? They take the same toner? Or,
Well, we don't have to buy that. They provide
it's
it. It's
included
part
in
of the
the-
lease.
okay.
So I haven't really paid that much attention to
Okay.
it, frankly. But we have 4 units, they're all rented. The police and the admin have a higher max capacity of 7,500. The other
Okay.
2 are in clerk and building, they have 3,500. So something that Sue just pointed out to me, I thought that the scanning was charged as an image, and it's not, which is a happy thing.
Scan everything.
It's because we are, and also this year, you should see also reduction in postage because we are trying to email all of our vouchers as much as we can. So I know the vendors are happy because they're getting paid quicker. So
Okay,
we're trying to chip away.
excellent, thank you.
So that was line 290 for 1,800. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Furniture, 2,000.
No, you see the postage machine rent was previously in another line that we're gonna discontinue. So it's now up top here. That's why it was previously,
So it's equipment,
yes.
okay,
So
2,000?
so line 300 is going to go from 500 to 2,000 because we're moving it around, Mary?
Yeah, because if you look, it's from down below, there's a line, where is it? Okay, on page 3, second from the bottom. Previously was $7,000.
Yeah.
It was called maintenance and support for equipment.
Okay.
Okay.
Mail machine, I want to get rid of that. In talking to Peter, he agreed that we should just put it in different places that made more sense and just get rid of this line item in the budget, which
Okay.
seemed to be redundant.
Okay, so we're just moving part of that
So
out.
2,000 goes
Correct.
up there and 5,000 is going to DMF because it has to do with the elevator.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everybody okay with line
Yep.
100,
Yes.
300?
Okay.
Advertisements, increase due to elimination advertising for departments other than clerk, reviews, CPA. So advertisements going up a little bit?
This is because in the past, like when we were
Consolidation.
filling positions, for instance, we just advertised for DMF, it was charged to a DMF line that made no sense to me because I do the hiring, so we're charging it now to administration.
Okay, so there's a decrease in the
We're moving
DMF.
it somewhere.
Correct.
So
Yeah,
we're just
you're
moving
gonna
it.
see the elimination of that.
Okay.
That one, I think, because it's de minimis, it makes sense to put it in here.
So 100-310, everybody okay with
We're
that?
good?
I'm sorry, can we just go back up to the line above, 300?
Yes.
The actuals are 519. Do we expect that to be less because we'll be short?
What are you talking about?
The mail machine,
The actuals are, no,
five,
you know what though? I'm getting a new, machine for less. It's like
Okay.
the phones, we're getting new equipment for less.
okay, just looking.
No, I
Thank you.
factored it in, it's based on actual proposed prices.
Okay, so it'd be less than the 519, because I guess what Mike is trying to get at,
Yes.
we'd be at, you
Yeah.
know, $2,080, $2,076 versus.
No, and I have to act on that soon. The lease doesn't expire till the end of May, but they've offered to buy out the old lease.
Okay, great.
100, 370, training, 2,000?
Yeah, that would be for the final course for the QPA. It says a final course for QPA and course for a purchasing assistant. I'd love for Christina, if she has the time, I should avoid saying names, for my purchasing assistant to take a course if she's able to can.
Okay.
Everybody okay with
Yes.
370?
Printing, 250? Down, up, down, I guess?
It's down because, again, we're trying to, we're handling our purchase orders differently. And we used to have them custom made with the feeding through a dot matrix printer.
Hey, make this still?
So are you doing the purchase orders out of the system, like they, you know, like on
We're-
PDF by 11, you printed them out from there?
Yeah, and we're using less, we're not doing all these carbons that used to float around. Half the time we throw them out, you know, with their utilities, they're not getting sent out for signatures. It's everybody, Joy, myself, and Christina like the new system. It's much easier.
Purchase orders get mailed out or emailed?
Email, that's what I'm saying, we converted.
Yeah,
That's
you
why I
were
say the
saying that
postage is gonna go down, because we are trying to collect email addresses for everybody. In this day and age, most people have on their quotes their email address, so that's.
When you get bills in from vendors to pay,
Mm-hmm.
do they mail them in or do they email them in?
Both, both. The ones who are wise, and I've even asked them to, I've suggested to many of them, I've created a blanket mailer that said, in the future, if you want to get your payments expedited, include this language on your voucher, or the claimant certification language that I certify, blah, blah, blah. Some of them have adopted that and love it, like, you know, so it facilitates a payment. And I just mentioned the other day at the council meeting, and I have to look into this a little bit more. I learned at the league in November that there is a mechanism where if the council adopts a resolution and says, we don't need signatures from vendors on purchases under $6,000, that would eliminate the need for the back and forth on that. So,
Say that again?
You can do it electronically almost?
no, there's certain, you can waive, if you do a resolution that says the council hereby, and again, because this is a Faulkner Act, I don't know if it's a council thing or a mayor thing, but basically it was the governing body makes a decision that you can forego a vendor certification that is typically on a purchase order as a necessary predicate to payment, then you don't have to, which is the bulk of our purchases, it's under 6,000, you don't have to get the vendor certification. And it's kind of silly in some respects because half the time, I'm requiring a packing slip if it's office supplies or whatever. You have something that you can independently verify that you have it. You don't have to do it for utilities and certain things that are by contract when it's a lease. I know I have the machine here, so, but I would like to get that done. It was news to me and a lot of people in that room that was a new thing they adopted, and I just have to find out the
Mary Ann,
particulars.
can you get the
when we-
language, give it to Sue?
Yes.
Sue, can you please contact Ken? I think it's gonna be under the council to do, and I'm sure whether it's the council or the mayor, we're gonna approve it if we can do it.
Yeah.
To expedite things and save costs. So,
Right.
can you just find out, and let's have a resolution for the next meeting, if that's okay with the rest of the council. You okay with that?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Art, good?
So 250, 100, 470, 250?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay, page 3, moving along. Miscellaneous, 250, includes hand soap. I saw, there was something, I looked at the thing and had hand soap in it, to be honest with you. So hand soap's not an issue anymore?
No, I get it at Costco in a
Okay.
big jug and we fill it with
Yeah,
funnel.
because it actually was in here, hand soap, so, okay, so we're good with
So
that?
that's 100-500, correct?
Gentlemen?
Yes.
Yes.
Plex. 0, Plex.
Okay.
Software. Big one.
You can see the notes.
Yeah, so the licensing is, so the 6951 software licensing is renewal, an addition?
It's a
new ones?
renewal. It's the, it's one we've historically used. It was in a different line item previously.
And-
Well, there was another 3,500 for Edmonds in another line item, right?
Yes, and what happens is most of it is, I think the only one we charged to that department was tax. So I figured if you were charging the one, why not charge both modules? I think there's like 5 we have. So the
Yeah.
purchasing and the budgeting, for the most part, is stuff that comes out of the admin, so that's why it's in that line. Let me see
Yeah,
where this
I
is
think to a
charged.
certain extent it was by module. If we could identify a module to a department, we build that department.
The mailbox for the directors and what's?
Planning board.
Planning
Planning
board.
board, zoning board, we can't put them on our existing one?
We're
No,
looking to
because-
switch, we're looking to switch off of rack space.
Okay,
To
for
Microsoft-
overall savings, or?
Saving, security.
Security.
just-
Archiving, archiving.
Yeah,
looks
they
like
they
that based
offer a
on the
lot
new
more.
IT
I mean, it
guy.
is more pricey, but they do offer a lot more.
Actually, Peter, just not to correct,
Yeah.
but the current price we're paying is slightly less, but gives us far less
Okay.
features than we need for
So that's
security.
that's
and
gonna
to-
come off of our other one?
Yes, there's
Okay.
another line you'll see, but however, and this is expanding based on some discussions we had about
Okay.
if they're conducting town business on town email, so that all the planning board and zoning board have emails, so that they're not doing private emails.
Okay, that's
and-
good.
And have all the directors have emails
Yeah.
too, since they are employees.
I mean, the rack space, I'm getting coupons from Kings and every other, I don't know about you guys, you
Oh,
get stuff
yeah.
like that, right? Like half the stuff is
My
not
junk
even.
folder has more than,
Yeah.
The real folder.
Overall, because it sounds like there's some reclasses, is this all, is 12,000 new expense, or is,
It's coming out of another,
I mean, I guess
Well,
how
no,
much is
Let
new?
Michael finish. I will tell you, the 6951 is not new. It
Okay.
previously was down in IT services.
Okay,
The virus software is a different amount, and it's a different virus software, so it is
okay,
new to that extent, but we had it in another line. It was under, Semantic was the prior one, and I was told by the new person that's not, that was also out of IT services. Again, IT services to me is the tech doing work.
Okay.
So I'm trying to reclass, and the 4608 was also down in IT services and is no longer there. And that is a new amount because it's enhanced services.
okay.
so overall, we're gonna get rid of rack space and redundant services, we're gonna pick this line item up here.
Yes.
And the overall increase would be how much?
Well, if you look down to IT services, it's down about 5.
Okay.
And this is up to 12, so there's some enhancement in here because we are going to a contract where it's a fixed amount based on how many computers are serviced. In the
Yes.
past, as you know, we've had issues
Mhm.
that were not getting corrected.
Correct.
This new contract that Peter and I went over is designed to allow the staff to have the issues addressed as they occur and effectively being done without the 2-3 times making a request and something not getting done.
Okay, that's fine.
So there is a bump in the IT part of it
Right.
because we are trying to make
Make it better.
a better service for everyone.
And what is the bump overall?
About 5,000.
I think if you combine the two, that's like 29, it's about a $7,000 bump.
All right.
So is this gonna be Outlook? Is that what we're getting, Microsoft Outlook?
Yes.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
good. I said, oh,
Yeah,
yay.
I know. And I can't think of the name.
There's a cushion in there or something because
Our
there's some,
software programming guy, I thought the guy who comes in to help, so we doing anything with that?
that's what I'm saying, this is
This
a
is
new
it.
company.
It's a new
We have a new company, Authornet, Doug at Dart.
Doug, mhm, yeah.
So that's changed?
Yeah.
That's changed, we
Yes,
used
yes.
them for the first, and
Okay.
there's some transition period.
Okay, so 12,751?
That's 100-810?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Just, I'm sorry, but the new person, is he, or the new firm, are they doing the install of the
Yes.
new
Yes.
computer? Okay,
And
perfect.
that was at a savings of over $5,000. That's how we got to him.
Okay.
And that was on a recommendation from Sue.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's
sir.
working out, he's doing his job,
Yes.
he's diligent.
Yes,
Sue just wants a bigger computer screen there to hide better. That's what she's requested.
Yeah, yeah.
100, 100, 820,
understand that.
computer supply, 0? Yes.
Okay with it? Yep.
100, 830, computer maintenance, 0, 1104 last year, 0 now, because it's up above, I assume?
Correct.
the maintenance part of it is actually in the IT services. These two are gonna fall out. It's my
Okay.
desire to get rid of
Okay.
redundancy.
Sure.
Okay, we're into
Maintenance support.
102, 200.
yeah. So the elevator moved into the a lot of this was elevator work, it moved into the DMF budget, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
That's good.
So
And
we're
I
zero-
actually just,
we're gonna zero that one out.
I received other you wanna hear? We were using one company and there was escalation clauses and they would just keep going up each year. And I asked around to administrators, I got recommendations for 2 other companies, solicited quotes that were far less, although they had some caveats because of the equipment, only Fujitech could work on Fujitech equipment. I asked Fujitech to sharpen their pencil, they did, and it's a $700 per month savings as a result, so.
Great.
Not 770, sorry,
No,
700 is
still
a
good.
lot different, but it's still a
Yeah,
savings.
still good, yeah.
And it just shows that when you ask the questions, you know, you're not gonna get savings unless you
Ask.
look around.
Ask for the
Fujitech-
discount.
Fujitech is out?
No, they're in.
No, but
They're
at a
in
better
reduced
price.
They
Oh,
came,
okay.
they came down.
Okay, 0? Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause it's getting moved.
IT services, 17,360,
103,200?
Annual price.
Yes.
With the net cushion of 5,000 for a big cushion.
Is that just kind of a break-it period cushion to get everything caught up? to
Yeah, I
date?
mean, I don't
Like,
wanna
yeah.
be
And with them being a new
and we're-
vendor
especially
and-
And we have issues that we need to resolve going in.
Well, we're getting the new install and
Correct.
it's starting to roll out. I just want to make sure that my hands aren't
Okay.
tied when we need to do certain things to fix.
So part of that 9,000 plus is really a 5,000 for extra, so it's
Yeah.
really.
Correct.
Plus 4 if we don't use that 5,000.
Basically, yeah.
So when will the Outlook be effective as of Microsoft Outlook?
Don't know. Well, I'll let you know.
Page 4?
Yes.
Okay, so we go to office supplies now. 150?
Well, you have the salary and wage, are you
We're
gonna,
gonna
you're not
skip
gonna
salary,
write
Skipping all
Peter?
those.
I recommend a decrease, just put it out there.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, so 110, 210, 150?
I'm okay with it.
Subscription books, 110, 240, 100?
Okay. Yeah.
1,500 meetings, dues, et cetera.
That's 110 to
Yeah, 110, 250.
Yep.
Zero, next line. Printing, 250. This is for.
What do you print?
Peter needs business cards.
All right.
Take care.
Ciao.
Bye, Joan.
Have a good weekend, John.
No
Yep,
cards?
business
Business
cards.
cards,
and-
yeah, just because the new
Did you guys
mayor.
get cards?
Not yet, no.
Hopefully they're ordered,
No.
hopefully.
No, I don't know, I have to check with Bernadette.
Okay.
Sue and I
Okay.
can, Sue and
250
Bernadette
good?
can work together
Yep.
to consolidate the
Well, they don't
orders.
put an S on my name. I don't-
Miscellaneous, 700.
There's only one of you.
110, 500 is 700. okay?
Here's something I'll just throw out there, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
You know, when you and Mr. Sears were on the council, you guys got badges.
Yes.
I don't think Mr. Bruno, Mr. Ullman, I got one, Mr. DeSena, and Mr. Cummings. I don't know if you want one, you don't want one. I just
Have you ever
figured it out.
used yours? I've
Yeah,
never
you know what I use
used mine.
it for? I stick my old license in there. I never use it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's, again,
Yeah.
they're two new guys, it's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I
know,
think
it's up to
Tom
you.
was big on
Yeah.
that, but
He loved
I
it.
never used
And I
mine.
never got the
I can print my
identification that he
own on my
wanted, so,
license printed.
Yeah.
whatever, I'm just throwing it
Yeah.
out there. I don't think there's a need for
Right.
it. I'd make the offer.
Yeah.
since you and
We
I
had
have
them,
them,
right.
So, that's all.
So we don't want badges.
Okay, good. We don't need
So
to stick
miscellaneous,
it.
700. We're on 110,
Sound like-
500.
Target is
Yes.
this way, right?
Everybody okay with 110, 500?
Yeah.
Trophies, 500. 110, 790.
Is that all?
I assume
You know,
this is
I'd like to do-
giveaways?
I'm sorry.
Giveaways to nice stuff, or? what?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to do more recognition than what we've done in the past, and, you know, so I think there's some in mayor and some in council for trophies that we'll
Sure.
just
Okay.
draw from
Sure.
mutually.
That's fine.
Absolutely.
Okay, the bottom, page 4, 111, 100 is, we hold off for now. Big dip.
Like Mr. Olman said, I'm going to recommend a decrease in that.
I-
Turnabout's fair
Well,
play, Mike.
I'd like to decrease both because, again, we're getting pension with anything over 4,999, okay? I don't think you're gonna
Okay,
make a
salaries
living
will be
on
another
it.
discussion.
So, again, that's my recommendation, throw it all down so we don't burden the taxpayer with the
Okay.
pension.
111, 210 office supplies. So, yeah, we don't really have anything here, we don't use anything. That's 0, 0.
Postage for 220, 0.
Yeah. Yes, gentlemen, good?
Mhm.
Okay, 11, 240. I don't know if we need books. Did we put books? I might have put books in for something if we get.
It looks like we spent them the past few years, that's why.
Well, we just ordered some books from the League of Municipalities for ourselves, so that it is being used.
Bob, you prepared this budget, so I don't,
Yeah, I kept it the same. I think, you know, Mike's always looking for legal stuff, so Mike the Senate, so I just put it in. So 100.
Yep.
what I'll do is when we get closer to finalizing, I'll run a report to see what's actually been charged, to see if you've gone over, and then you have to increase, so.
Okay.
111, 250. This is all the Atlantic City League and stuff, I assume? I put it in there?
Yes.
Okay. Professional services. So this one I put in for a couple of things. One is a labor attorney for the PBA contract. One is, there was a form of government, change of government to get advice, but according to Ken, we can't do that. And then I put, this could be in your budget somewhere, Pete, I don't know if you did it, for a town engineering study.
Well, I left the 7 in, as you see, for that, because Ken didn't say the council couldn't do that, so.
Okay, so then we need just the labor attorney's got to go back in. Because that's, because you have to recuse yourself and so does Art. So that leaves the council, and Ken is not a labor attorney, and I believe we need a labor attorney for the PBA contract.
I think your number there is very light, Bob. I think we're fooling ourselves, and we think, if we could get that for that price, Bob?
So, well, I used 150.
You- you-
No, I'm
The
saying
40
40
hours?
hours is way light. I mean,
What do you
speaking
want
as
to
a lead, I think we need to do some due diligence on that. That number is very light.
do? Okay, so you want to put it on hold?
I think we should,
Well,
yeah,
just-
hold on this one.
Hold on a second. Why would we need a labor attorney?
For the PBA contract.
We've used our town attorney who's required to do all those things, and he's,
No, this is different. This is a labor attorney. We don't want
Hold
the
on.
town attorney doing a labor attorney
Bob?
contract.
he's done it for the last number of contracts, and he stated specifically at 2 council meetings, he specialized to do all areas of law. That's what he stated. I'll go back and get the minutes. You don't need a special attorney for that. So again, he would get to pick whoever he wants, but you don't get to pick them. So why would that come out of, why would
We
that come out
approve
of
the
our budget?
contracts, first of all. The council approves contracts.
I understand that.
So if he comes with a contract with somebody, we approve the contract, number one. But our borough attorney clearly is not a labor attorney.
That, I agree with you 100%. There's a lot of things he's not.
So why, so I don't
I agree with
understand.
you, Bob. I think we should never negotiate a contract without a labor attorney.
I agree.
I know it's been a past practice, I don't
I
agree with it.
understand.
I think it's a disservice to the citizens of our town,
I agree.
and a labor attorney should be involved in any contractual matters going
I
forward.
agree.
That's my view.
What was suggested to me at the mayor's dinner I attended, because this came up in a brief conversation, is you see first what the police are looking for to judge how extensive it is, and then decide whether we need a labor attorney or not at
I
that
agree.
point. So again,
I agree.
it should be in Ken's budget, I agree, because if he's saying it can't be here, it has to be somewhere, obviously. But, so I think it would be up to him, I'm just quoting, let me, not quoting. That, he would see what they're asking for and then decide if he believes he needs a labor attorney to assist.
What I would do is I would.
The League of Municipalities has 2 papers on this, which I will forward to the council, and they are very, very concerned with municipalities going into labor negotiations without a labor attorney. And that is their position, that municipalities should never go into, no matter what they put on the table, no matter how good it is or how bad it
I've
is.
seen the paper, and I agree with you 100%. What I'm
And-
saying is, for our particular form of government, according to our town attorney, this should not fall under the council.
That's fine.
Okay.
But it needs
It
to
should-
fall somewhere. I think we need to
Right,
put it on record that it needs to
again,
fall somewhere.
according to Mr. Pollard, he says he gets, the director of law gets to pick the attorney, so it really takes us out of the mix there. If you want to put a separate line item under the attorneys for that specific portion for a labor attorney, I'm okay with it. If you think the number's light, which it sounds like you think the number's light,
It's,
You know,
according to what I've seen,
So
it's-
do you agree we should have a labor attorney?
Well-
I agree we should have a labor attorney,
Okay,
okay?
so what
I do
should-
not agree that it should be here in this part of the
That's
budget, since we don't
fine.
get
I
to
just,
pick them.
I wanted to put it in so we don't lose track of it.
Okay, that's fine, but I think it should go under there.
Okay, so let's
and-
flag it and then you'll research it.
And,
Yeah.
and separate it and make it specifically
Let's do that.
the
I mean,
amount that you
generally-
want for a
okay.
labor attorney.
I think we always need
So generally,
professional
Peter,
advice.
the way I've always done labor contracts is, we have a contract as an employer.
Right.
You go through your contract, you know what it says, you look at it.
Sure.
You start negotiating what you think you want before anybody comes.
Right.
I mean, you don't wait for them to say, this is what I want, and say, okay. So that's what we need to do. We need to, nobody's really, I don't think anybody's really gone through this contract the way they should have, so,
And
it's
If I
clear to
might?
me.
Yes,
So-
ma'am.
Okay, just because I've been through this as a council person, and where I sat without an attorney and with an attorney, having an attorney is very valuable. There are ones that specialize in the
Correct.
PBA,
Yeah,
negotiating
sure.
the
Absolutely,
PBA
that's what I'm
contracts.
saying, this number is.
As
very high.
to, I think the 40 hours, I think is, in my experience, okay. The rate may not be okay. We can look into it more because it depends on how many sit-downs you have to have,
Correct.
obviously, but they charge for your time. I know there are some that are, well, you'll get to that point. Another thing is just as far as the way the negotiations go, typically 6 months before the expiration, you invite them, ask them for their offer. You have requirements under the law on how you have to conduct it with getting the ball rolling, so you're negotiating in good faith. There is a little bit of, hopefully by 6 months from now or 4 months from now, we'll know what the state of the ARP cap is, because that's going to significantly affect your negotiations.
correct?
Yes, and if you haven't had that, if you don't have that in place, the 40 hours is going to be light, because it's going to be a wild west with negotiations.
Anything on the cap?
No, I think it's up to what Governor Murphy signals he's willing to do, because I think the Assembly is, and the House, and the Senate are following whatever he.
Okay, so,
His recommendation is that I've not heard.
No,
No, he has not made a recommendation to date.
so not to cut everybody off, you'll look at that?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike, you said you'd send that to the
Look into that,
council.
right?
Did
I
you
will
send
copy-
it
I will
to
copy
me,
it.
Mary Ann, and Ken
Yeah.
also? Thanks.
Council travel expenses,
So we're flagging that one, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Coming back
Yes.
to that one, thanks.
so I had nothing.
We're going to hold 111,260 as a whole.
Okay, thank you.
So can I just, are we holding it because we want to look at what it should be and put it somewhere else? Or are we going to
Yes.
put the 7 in there and flag legal expenses?
Well, what is your intent on this town engineering study, Bob? I'd like to know. Was it?
Well, because, actually, Peter had mentioned that he wanted to temporarily fund a study, and we've talked about this for years. We have a DMF, we have a firehouse, we have an ambulance. We talk about moving things to different.
But isn't
We have some
aren't
vacant
the archi-
properties.
But aren't the architects working on that now?
Well, I haven't signed the agreement yet, I hope to this week, for the firehouse, but I believe this is a separate one to look at all of our properties in town and make sure that we're using them the way we should, and, you know, perhaps moving things
So we're
around.
gonna have somebody's actually gonna interview all the employees.
Okay.
I mean, so I put it in. I mean, if it's somewhere else, that's fine, but. it's just,
No,
you know, Mike's been
that is
talking
not
about this
somewhere else.
for 3
Yeah,
years.
I mean, to me,
It's a master plan, basically, for the municipal facilities, for everything, that's what it is.
Sounds
you
like a
know,
good
So-
the opportunity arose, and we know we passed on it for the old Bethany Church. But at the time, we had this building, we had an issue with the police headquarters. We have an issue with the DMF building. We have an issue with the fire department. We have the ambulance building, which is not ours, but could factor into any redevelopment. And I
Okay, I
know,
understand,
just,
yeah.
you know, trying to figure out those pieces, because, you know, if you address all of those pieces, we're looking at $6-7 million between a DMF, a firehouse, development here. So
It's money well spent.
It's a, we're getting a plan, then we'll decide how we'll
Right.
cut the
How it all
cake.
factors.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. I was
And I
just-
think you come into play with this, because this is your bailiwick, so, you know. Okay, so that's, so 111,260 is flagged, 111,280. I had nothing with travel, but I guess we should put something for, if you go into the League of Nations stuff,
League of Municipalities?
or whatever it is.
It's,
I don't know that anyone's ever put in
no.
for their mileage on
They
that.
charge you $5 for parking for the
Right.
day, I
Okay,
can
so
handle
that's
that,
how
I
I
can
put
handle
nothing.
gas going back and
Okay,
forth.
so we're
Leave
done.
it at zero.
Furniture and equipment, so this was chairs up on top that we put in,
So
get.
it will be in the chair pool budget.
Do you
So,
want,
so
you
we'll
want to
leave
spend
this
money on
here,
chairs?
we'll leave this here for now.
My chair is so comfortable now, I'm good with it.
Well, unfortunately.
Well, we're not going to leave yours and do everyone
We can't
else's.
see anybody.
I can't see anybody.
We sink down to the floor, so.
Yeah.
I get your telephone,
Anyway,
but we don't make them anymore.
we just build a riser.
They don't make them
All
anymore.
right, so we'll leave it in there if everyone's in agreement with, and then
Yes,
we'll
I-
see.
So 300 we'll leave there?
No, 6,000.
No, I'm saying
Oh,
line
yeah,
300,
yeah,
111,
300.
300.
Yes.
Please.
I'm gonna say no.
So here's consulting and non-legal,
I
which
see.
is interesting. We have a line item, but we can't do it, so I guess it's zero,
Leave it at 0?
because we're gonna shift it.
I mean,
Well, it says non-legal.
to me, almost that one and the professional services go hand in hand. I don't see what the difference is between the two lines, but
Yeah, I don't
it seems
know.
like one could be eliminated down the
Yeah,
line.
We can take that out maybe
Yeah.
next year.
No, just apparently in the
320.
past,
We'll do it this year if you
let me
can.
just go back to 320. Apparently in the past, it's been funded probably prior to 2013. It was funded in 2013, 14,
Right.
15, and
Funded-
That's it.
Funded,
Yeah.
not spent, though.
Yeah.
I understand, funded not spent, so there must have been an intention, and at that time, it must have been okay to have it, or someone would have brought it to the attention of the council that you couldn't do it.
But it's non-legal, that's the difference.
Yeah, you can put in professional fees, though. We could just get one line,
Right.
that's all.
Yeah.
We won't
Okay.
lose it. Printing 300.
For business cards. Mhm.
Good, yes?
Yes?
Page 6, miscellaneous, I kept 300, we spent 382.
Okay.
Yes.
Everybody okay with line 500?
Yep. I'm sorry, force of habit.
Yeah, my trophies, plaques, 500.
Okay.
Yes.
If we have it, let's please spend it.
Yeah, so when we do the recognition for people, you give your certificates and your binders, I know that doesn't cost much, but is that something we haven't, do you buy that stuff, or is that
It
something?
probably came out of my budget.
Yeah, okay. All right,
Skip the salaries, right? Well,
yeah, so this, yeah, we'll skip this out.
Top of page 7, it looks like.
So also, well, let's keep going. Assistant to clerk overtime, so we're gonna hold on all that, right?
Yep.
Deputy clerk, we hold on, so now we go to, yes,
office supplies,
page 7.
12210.
1,200? That's you, Sue, you need stuff? Office
I have-
supply?
Sue gave me notes.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me bring my notes.
Well, if you look off past history, you spent, in 2014, we spent 1,100, 15 we spent 6, and 16 we spent another 11 plus, and last year we were down a little bit.
Seems to go up and down every
Yeah,
year, so it's due for an up year, it
I'm
looks
okay with
like.
that particular line item.
Everybody okay with 12210?
Yeah, I am, I should say.
Yes.
There was no specific explanation for that one given.
Okay.
Postage we're moving, right? 12220, so it's 0, right?
Mary Ann, does that fall out the next year?
Well, I can take it off, the ones, they don't have to fall out, I just delete them.
I thought it was after
No,
5
it's-
years it comes out.
No, I can delete it.
Can you delete it,
I can
please?
force delete.
Yeah, force delete that. Anything that we haven't really used,
Yeah.
I would request that we force.
Well, I force deleted
Mary Ann did a
a lot.
lot,
Okay.
hence the lot number
I'm
page,
sure you
less
have.
pages
Yeah, I
this
see
year than
this is very-
previous years.
This is
yeah.
very thin,
Yeah.
which I like.
Yeah.
Get fitter
so-
before you delete the rest of them.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, so force delete.
So subscription and books, 240.
You see the note on there, the stark reduction was because this new software licensing that Sue was asking for, that tracks open permits by property, is now part of a building department software that we're getting the free use of for a year, so there's no charge. We have 5 seats for SDL, and the idea is at some point, the planning, zoning, building, clerk, all will be tied to a property block and lot, and then it can be, things can be input from various sources, and then ideally, the residents can actually look at it and see it, and it will cut down on open requests and things of that nature. Status of permits, they'll be able to see where that goes, so.
So is there
first-
any reason we cut it out?
Yeah, because it's.
The first year is
We're getting
free.
it for
Oh,
free.
okay.
This
Yeah,
is a-
that wasn't
this is a
realized when
different
the request
software
was put
company.
in.
This is a different company that was going to dovetail onto Unidex, which is what I use for registrars. And in speaking with Mary Ann, we agreed to try this for the year because at one of the council meetings, we asked about, and Peter, I think you asked about, when we get soil moving permits, do they get an actual document? And I have nothing really, we have a letter we give them. It's not the same thing that, like building, you get that sticker in your window.
Yeah, you don't get a placard.
Right, and I believe speaking to the gentleman, I'll be able to have the option of doing that now, so that, anything, soil moving, solicitors is downstairs. I go blank every time I talk about these things. There's a number of the different ones that we can do.
So you're
And it
happy
makes
with-
sense to have
You're happy with the software?
Well, we're
Because
gonna
I know-
try, the guy came in and said that we're going to have to, they're gonna give it, Mary Ann's gonna have them on both of our computers, Cornelia and I, so we can try it out.
Okay.
We will need to get training on it, but like Mary Ann said, if we wanna do training now, we will go to their location and learn, and if we like it after the year, then we'll bring everything in.
And hopefully they will like it, because
Yeah.
it makes no sense to have Unidex have one database and then not be coordinated with the other database,
And like
because
when we do
it's
soil.
property by property.
If we like this software, and I'm glad we're getting it for free, are we gonna leave it as a budget item in her, in the clerk's office, or are we gonna split that among 3?
I think we would do it next year, would be split amongst the departments.
Now,
Which would be fair.
So I didn't understand, will dog and cat be rolled onto this also?
No, because it doesn't really tie in, I mean, you really want to have a
Well,
picture of a
well,
property.
Well, it's got
Dog and
property.
cat is
with-
Edmonds.
Okay.
So we.
Well, I was just wondering, because then it would be by property addresses, so you could track who had the dog and cat easier.
I'm okay with it for $200, I'm good.
That includes building permits? No.
Yes,
Yes?
yes.
It's,
How do you interface with the road runner in the building department?
I don't know what Roadrunner is.
It's the building department software.
No, it
for
isn't.
permits.
It's SDL, Spatial
SDL.
Data Logic. That's what we've had for years.
Really?
Yes. And in fact, with this new, it's an enterprise license, it allows the inspectors in the field to update the records with an Android.
In the
or-
field.
In the field,
Good.
Oh,
Excellent.
that's great.
yeah.
That's cool. And we do like the soil moving permits, that's one of the other ones, we'll be able to look in and drive downstairs and look and see that everything's been done, so she can issue. It should interface really well with everybody, once we get a.
That'll
And the
save
cost-
time on your people coming back to do paperwork and time.
Exactly.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And again, the idea being if you can capture all these different disciplines and have one record, because right now, you have to go up to Vince and get, what's in
Soil,
planning,
whatever,
zoning,
yeah.
and go to Sue for soil, and then there'll be one record that all the departments can view and see the status of an application via property.
So
I
it should make
believe next.
CCOs a lot easier also,
Yeah,
right?
I believe next year, if we continue with it, if all goes well, I think it's 8,000 or 9,000 for 5-seat licenses, which would cover planning, zoning having one, clerk's office having one, build 2 seats in the building, and we'll figure out where the other seat goes.
We're on board, 200.
Okay, good. Interesting.
200 is not for it. 200 is just other stuff.
So 200, we agree, everybody?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 122.40, everybody.
I think that's the longest we spent on a $200 line item.
Conferences, 2,000. Cornelia's got to go somewhere?
Yep.
Yes.
122.50, everybody okay?
122.70, 250, equipment repair? We haven't done anything. My question on this, last year we talked about upgrading this, what Sue does up here at the council meetings to a Word document, or somehow,
That's happening.
That's in the
Done.
computer part
That
of
was,
it.
It's being installed.
okay.
that was something that Peter
It's installed,
approved
but-
after he
okay,
took
so it's
over,
on.
that the
Correct.
Mayor's Hopkins had not approved, but it's
Okay.
in the works.
Well, I told you, what'd I say then?
All right, moving on. 122.80.
Mileage stipend, 600, that's a given. Yes, gentlemen?
Yes.
All right, I guess we got more chairs. Chairs, let's,
More chairs.
copy fees, sorry, and chairs.
Sue apparently purchased new chairs last year out of her own pocket, and then didn't bring them in.
Could no
or put
longer
in.
wait.
So you already have the chairs, that's what I mentioned earlier.
We'll reimburse you.
Thank you.
Can't make this stuff up.
I don't want to talk about it.
Just keep moving on.
All right, so 1,500, yes?
Yeah, 12300 for 1,500, everybody in agreement?
Yes.
123.10, 4,500. Advertisements, but I guess this is what we do, right?
Yes.
This is all the media group or whatever it is?
Yes.
So 123.10, everybody's in
It
agreement?
was 1,300 over last year, which was a big jump from the prior year. I don't know, was there more?
There was, well, the COA, we got the COA ordinances.
No, what I'm saying, but you're increasing at 1,300 over actual last year.
It's just because I don't know how many ordinances we're gonna do,
Okay.
and that's the only reason why. I don't plan on any more, but you never know.
We can't give enough public an advertisement or notices, so that's fine with me anyway.
So 123.70.
The 310, we're good? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Go, Mike.
123.70, additional courses for some staff. Everybody okay with that?
This is Cornelia, what are we doing with her? Is this part of the health thing or the,
Well, the health ones, I don't think, I have to look into, the health ones were on a weekend, and I don't think there's a charge, but I have to really look into that. I'm working with her, trying to get her on board to take some of the clerk classes so that she will understand why she does what she's doing with me. You know, she
Okay.
asks a lot of questions, we work well together, but it would just be more background for her.
Okay. Everybody okay with
Yeah,
123.70?
again,
Professional development?
Thank
Yes.
you.
please.
124.60, code publication?
so we took it out. Next, be on the next page, page 8?
No.
No, so
No, it's,
There's a note per
49.50.
E-code, is that because of the codification?
I have the note. if
Well,
I
this we
might.
spent
Annual-
$11.95.
Annual codification estimated to be $3,750, E-code maintenance, regular maintenance is $1,195.
So that's
And what that means
49.40.
is the
What's the
11.95 is-
codification?
Yeah, well, there's
All the
two separate
changes.
things. The
What-
codification we're doing the project is one thing. Once the codification is done this year,
That's
all the
published.
new laws that you see on the side on the E-code will be incorporated. But as we go forward for the year after, actually this year, I should say, but the new ones that we do, they won't be in this new law thing for 2 years, 3 years. I'll set up a schedule that every 6 months, every 4 months,
We
it will
update.
incorporate it.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than looking at our code book online and seeing new laws and have to click on every single one to see what it is. So there's a fee, it's a maintenance fee.
So Sue, this is in effect a one-time bump because of the codification, and then should go down in future years, or
No,
not
it's probably-
necessarily?
It's probably, well, right now, because we have over,
Mhm.
yes, with codification.
Right.
It'll go down slightly,
Mhm.
but there will always be a fee for the E-code maintenance.
Of
that they
course,
just keep
right.
us, and then for uploading as we go through the year, so that everything's in the book.
Mhm.
So when you go in online, you see it.
Could you, when you get a chance, can you find out what that maintenance and update fee would be for
We
the
have-
future?
But we have it.
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand. So a maintenance bill suggests to me that that would include updates.
No,
It should, why wouldn't
No.
it? It would be
Separate.
called on a
I-
license.
no,
So it's a misnomer, it sounds like.
I called them after you and I spoke, and the E-code is the E-code. I could have brought it down like $300, but you wouldn't get the option to go in and search everybody else, which we've all gotten on board with that. So I said for $300, it was not worth throwing it back. The other one, though, is to bring the new ordinances into the book, and that's a separate fee. It's not the same.
Yeah, From being in that business, I'm not saying if I agree or disagree, but maintenance
not
is
like-
different
it's
than
theirs.
a one-time replacement and full update.
The codification project is a replacement of the
Mhm.
whole code.
Right.
But going forward, we need to, anything we do, any ordinances need to be brought on board. Or we look at 3 years of sitting on the side under a new law with a number.
So is it a good number or a bad number?
Seems
Well, it's a
like,
good number. It should go down slightly next year.
Okay.
I don't know how much lighter it's gonna be. It could be $1,000 for all I know.
Okay.
124.60.
So if it's 49.45, we have to spend it, then that was saying 49.45.
Yeah, for 124.60. Everybody okay with that?
So codification actually costs us, besides Ken's fees, another couple thousand on this too.
No, actually, there's a lot more. This is why I'm confused by this. It was like $1,600, I want to say, that is already earmarked for the actual, all the manuscripts. So this, to me, that's why I didn't understand the
So
fee.
can you look into this?
Let's
then?
flag this, please.
Let us
No,
know.
I mean, I think Sue has the number. She's looking
Okay.
at that, but
We need to do this. It's not something we can really flag. We
All
just
right.
need to do it. We just
Well,
get it done. Marion and I
then
can have
explain to
another
me the increase again, because I guess I missed it the first time, Sue. Please explain.
One
yes.
place or more
So
places?
$11.95 is the regular, you do
E-code.
nothing change.
Right, okay, got
That's
it.
your E-code,
That's
your
theirs.
access, and they
Okay.
call it maintenance, but it sounds like it's really.
It's access to
It's
get on the thing.
access,
Okay, so that's
it's
1,100.
It's licensed.
It's licensed, okay?
Okay.
And then the increase to put the new code into
Is
the
30,
system is 30
is
X
estimated to be $3,750.
Okay,
For
so-
2018.
for 2018. Going forward, okay, we're talking about that $1,100 maintenance fee, access fee, right?
Yeah.
And then there's going to be another fee on top of that every year
So they can
to-
take whatever code you
whatever's
do
new
during the year
and put
to
it
drop
in. What is
Yes.
that number do you estimate going forward after the big update? Do you recall what that was?
It's $3,750. It sounds like, and this is what we can get from them, it sounds like probably per update, it's probably a fee, I would
Okay.
imagine.
Well, I don't
And
know that it's per
regardless,
update. It depends on how many you do, because when I came back to her and said, because our codification project is taking longer than what they anticipated,
Right.
they had to increase due to what we've already added on
Right.
over their projected date.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
I understand. I'm good with the number, I'm fine.
Sue, just one more question. Do they host this for us? Like, this is not on our server, but it's on E-code server, do you know?
Yeah, I believe it's this, or.
Yeah, and so this $11.95, I'm guessing, is just a hosting fee for them to
Yes.
host
It's
it.
hosting, and to keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it fresh.
Right.
To work.
Mhm.
they're just
Yeah.
maintenance fees,
Yeah.
it's a
Right.
misnomer, that's what I
I'm
said.
fine with it, again, I just didn't
That's why
understand
questioned if
the
you could get it
continuing break there.
different.
Okay. Yes, gentlemen?
Yes, we're okay with it?
Yes.
We're at 124.70, correct, Mr. Wood?
Yep.
Page 8?
Yeah. 550? plates, things, that's fine by me. Yes?
Yes?
Everybody okay?
2,500, 200? Miscellaneous, yes?
Everybody okay?
Yes?
Elections. I guess this is a given, right? The 121, 100 account, the 950?
There's a change in that she's asking for $75 per election for Cornelia.
Instead of doing her hourly rate, just make it
So
a
how
flat
many,
thing.
so Cornelia, so 75 times how many?
2.
2. Okay.
And Cornelia does what, she stays later, or she's here, or? huh?
What she does is she goes home at 4:30, or whatever time, she say, at 3 o'clock, and then she comes back at 7:30, or, if you're at 7:30, and she actually helps me break down. She brings, the bags come to her, she breaks them down, I do the input on the computer.
Okay.
She's my right hand on
And
elections.
this covers the 2 dates of this year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would actually then have to modify the salary ordinance to create this for somehow, so just keep that in mind, I'll handwrite that in. What would you call that title? Election assistant?
Yeah, that would be a
Okay.
good time. Thank you.
All right, 121, 100, everybody okay with that?
Yep.
121, 210, $50 for supplies?
Okay. Yes?
Everybody okay?
So,
Yeah, Nick?
Yes.
do we have to break this out? I mean,
No.
I understand the salaries and wages, because it's a specific function, but to break out office supplies, I guess I mean, I just don't understand office supplies. I think that should come out of the clerk's office. And, you know, we're like fine tuning a pig sometimes, I feel.
Great, so make it 0?
I would say
Move it
0.
into the clerk's office?
Are you okay with that, Sue?
And drop it into the clerk's office?
You spent $11 this year on it.
I'm fine. No.
Yeah, because
It's closer to
clerk-
12, Mike, come on.
Clerk and elections are never separate, they're always the same person.
Yeah.
Okay, so 0 and it goes into clerk's.
So we're gonna make line item 210 then.
So where's your office supplies? Not that you need.
The only problem is, I think you already off.
You know what, for $50, I don't think we need to do anything.
All right.
Let's,
I mean, just take it out.
okay,
It's
let's,
fine.
let's.
There's plenty of
let's do this.
miscellaneous in the
Let's-
clerk, so-
Let's give it this time, and
No,
let's
just
make
take it
that next time a forced deletion.
Okay,
Well,
Right.
delete in
No,
2019.
hold on.
Okay.
Let's go back. So the $50 should be 0, and take it
Yes.
out of your office supplies.
Well, no, this is the problem, I think she already ordered, and there's gonna be stuff charged to
So
it.
bill it to office supplies in clerk's office.
But if it's already been paid, it can't be.
Reclassify it,
Okay.
thank you.
It's $12.
You may not let me, okay, I'll try to.
Just get it out.
If you can't,
Okay,
you can't. If you can,
I'll put
do
0,
it.
much
and
the
if I
better.
And
run
for
into
next
a
time,
problem,
force
I'll let you
delete it.
know.
Force delete it.
Let us know. But
And,
just
but
do
we're
it.
adding 50 up top.
For $11, just do it.
So you're adding 50 up top
Very
to,
Shakespearean.
No, we're not.
Much ado
we're not-
about
It's not even worth it.
It's not worth it.
Okay.
Just leave it
It's
alone.
$12.
yeah, there was enough cushion up top.
Yep.
All right, postage.
There are certain supplies that I have to order for.
So put it, so you
The
want,
point
we
is,
want
if
to
it's
increase your
50
budget?
We'll worry about
So your clerk office supply is 1,200 versus
Oh, that's-
788 spending last year.
Do you order a certain pen and only keep it for elections?
No, that's a great idea.
Let us know, we'll buy it for you.
Now, the next one, elections, 121, 220 was a little concerning because we had no appropriation in 2017, but we spent $8,500 on it.
That was the way it was handled in years past. They charged it, it's really the cost of the ballots, it's bill from the county. It includes both, but we decided it is more appropriately called ballots. It was a force of habit where it was charged against the postage mistakenly last year.
So
But in prior years, it was charged there also.
Yeah, but it was wrong. It was,
Okay.
there were ballots, it wasn't postage, it was the cost of printing ballots, and it included some postage, but
So
it was
the next,
mostly ballots.
the next line, if we aggregate those two
Right.
lines, that's the picture.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
So we should have no elections posted, that should be 0 delete.
next year we'll delete that, yes.
Correct, okay.
okay,
Forced delete.
So this is 8750
yes.
miscellaneous, line 121, 500, 0. Page 9.
Well,
2 items at the bottom because the rest are
Did I
salaries.
miss? Did I miss something? Did we miss something?
I don't think so.
Did anyone do a total for the, is anyone doing totals for the control lines?
Doesn't matter, I can do those. I mean,
Okay.
unless you want to have them, it doesn't go into what you adopt, so.
I like to have them for every department myself, just to see where we are, because it makes it a heck of a lot different, you know, at the end when you say, well, you know, we're over, we're under, you know, where are we? Then you gotta go back and add everything
Is
up.
that something you can print by summary, just the control totals
You
and
can do that, right?
admins after we're
Yeah,
done?
I'm gonna update
If you could,
online.
that would be great. Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
So we're on page 9, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So treasurer's, we'll hold off on that. Are we gonna get it? We're not gonna get a treasurer, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. CFO, we'll hold off. Finance director, we don't have anybody yet, right? Peter?
No, I had to push my interview off to this coming week for the person I have in mind.
Okay. Deputy treasurer, we'll hold off. Finance treasurer, office supplies, line 13210, $1,000, 12, I had 1,200 only because we spent 1151. Doesn't matter, no big whoop. Everybody's okay with 1,000, it's
Leave
fine.
1,000, right?
Yeah.
Everybody okay? 132.10?
Yes. Postage, 0.
32.20?
Good number.
We covered all these with Ashley.
Yep.
Looks like we
Oh, that
can
was an
go
easy page.
actually to page 13, if everyone agrees.
Yeah, we're on 13.
13.
152.10, correct, Mr. Bruno?
No, that's a salary, we're skipping that, we're going down to 120, right?
No, 5210 is
No,
office
150 is
supplies.
office supplies. 152.10.
A third of the way down on page 13.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's,
225, fine by me.
okay.
Good.
All right.
Okay, everybody good?
Okey-dokey.
210?
Well, actually, can I just, the salaries here, this was just offered, so you can kind of, I'll tell you what it is, the tax assessor, this is he accepted an offer for $20,000. Plus, we have to
What
have
line item are you looking at, sorry?
the salary for the tax
150,
assessor.
110.
51.
The last one on page 12.
I can do it to the penny, but Mr. Damiano was paid a certain amount through his retirement, so I can do this to the penny, but the 25,000 at the time was, we didn't know what we're gonna have to offer. Just so you know, Murdy accepted the position for 20,000, so the number will be slightly less.
Okay.
It'll be based on raise actual, so I'll fill that one in for you.
Okay.
And then the next one is, we just are advertising
Well,
for,
it would, to the 20,000 wouldn't include Mr. Damiano being paid for January and February.
no, I have to prorate the
Okay.
20,000 for the rest of the year for
Oh,
Murdy.
okay.
Right.
And then we have to have raise actuals at a higher amount than 25,000, so it'll come up, I can come up with an exact number for that one. And then the next line for the clerk's assistant, the clerk,
Yep,
that was based on the assumption that Mr. Arcetti would be in the position. We just posted an ad, we're advertising at $14 an hour, and we can wait and see on that one. But the amount there, I don't know that there's gonna be, it may go down a little. I think these are ones that there's no rice notices involved, so that's why I'm talking about them now.
in our current, you know, being, should we be offering anything less than 15?
Well, the problem is, I think the way prior employees were handled, there are certain
Yeah.
employees that are still getting
We
14 an hour.
reviewed this and,
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael, just so you know, the
yeah,
history,
our floor is not 15 yet. We hope to get it there, but
Okay.
yeah, when I just so you know that, when I started in January 2016, the hourly rate that I was told I could offer new hires and there were a few people I had to hire right in the first couple of months, was $12.18 or
so
$12.25.
we're moving it up.
And then there
gradually.
was, after some arm twisting, agreement to raise everybody who had been here a year
Employees.
to $14, and then
Right.
anybody who had reached their
Sure.
second year
Imagine
anniversary
so.
to $15 an hour.
Okay.
So if you started at 15, you'd have some people that may be a little bit
All
disgruntled.
right, so Mary, what are you proposing? You
Leave it as it is, and I might be able to shave a little bit off.
So the 25,000 is 25 or not 25,000?
It's going to be
So it's
slightly
20.
less.
Be about
Except for 20.
21 maybe between prorating the two
So we
salaries.
put it
No,
on?
no, I'll tell you.
Yeah, we gotta give us the exact
Right, so
number.
let's move
So
on.
we flag it and we
Yeah.
hold on it.
But you don't have to do rice
And we'll
notice.
hold the 6240 for now until you get it up, somebody
Correct.
to accept the position.
Okay, so we're on page 13, yes?
Yes.
Okay, 152.40, $25. seems silly, but I
Wow.
don't know.
They've spent zero there.
I mean, it's either
Yeah.
nothing or like 100, but.
So, Mr. Murdy is just coming in. Has he reviewed this, and should he,
I'm going to say it was prepared by Ray on his way out, if you will. He and Murdy worked together, so I think Murdy would agree with these numbers. As a matter of fact, didn't we even ask him, Mary Ann, at one point?
Yes, we did
Yeah.
on certain items, so we
Right.
have conferred with him on
Yeah.
certain things.
Well, I'm just looking at 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. They've spent zero there.
I think he asked for 25 for something being new to the
Okay,
position.
that's fine.
For that,
Everybody
for
okay
that
with
amount.
that?
Well, does 25 buy anything, or is it 50 or 100?
That's why, if he's okay with 25, then
No.
240, everybody
What can
okay
you
with
get for
240?
$25?
I don't know.
Dr. Cassidy, you know.
So why don't we just make it 100 and give the guy a break, in case he has to buy stuff, is that okay?
I'm
That's a
agree.
good idea.
I mean, I don't
Everybody
want
okay with that?
$25.
Yes, that's a good
What line
idea.
is that, 240?
240.
And the prior line you kept as recommended?
225.
Yes.
150, 250, 165. We don't spend anything on this one, we keep putting it in.
Again,
No,
I
that
think
was because
Ray
Ray was in
went from other towns, right?
What happened?
Ray went as part of other towns were picking up the fee,
We would.
because he worked for
every-
other towns other than us, so they were paying.
Oh, so now it's on
Right.
our tab?
Correct.
So
Agree.
165,
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody okay with
Yep.
Yes.
if it's
Yes.
okay?
150, 250, excuse me?
So
Yes.
that's sufficient, yes?
Yes.
300 for travel for 150, 280, everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
I think that's sufficient.
My favorite item, furniture and equipment, 150, 300, is this for chairs?
Chairs?
I don't know what it specifically, wasn't earmarked for anything, but I'll tell you that office needs some upgrades.
Yes.
Chairs.
Cheers for the
Cheers
cheers.
and-
Cheers.
Other.
Can we take all these chair budgets and furniture budgets and consolidate?
We'll aggregate
them,
them.
aggregate them and
Yeah,
go
and-
go
We'll
out.
put them all in
Yes.
capital furniture and
Bullet,
equipment.
as it were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just kidding.
No,
through the
But for
1033.
purchasing, that's what we'll
Yes.
do, yeah.
Okay.
Get him camp
Yeah,
stools.
Steve.
What's that?
Get him through the 1033.
There you go.
Okay,
I
150,
wish I could fit in the
280.
back of my Hummer, but I'll try.
Is that your Hummer in the lot?
So we did
It's my
280.
wife's.
already.
Is that good
That's
for
quite a
travel?
vehicle.
Yeah, we're good for
Impressive.
furniture for 300, we're at 310, Bob.
Yeah, I was looking, I had something on page 24.
Well, once we
This
get
is just
the
$75.
high water
This
vehicle,
is a stipend,
we'll be
I guess,
fine.
right?
We'll know what chairs
Yes.
you want in there.
All right.
So 150, 310, legal advertisements, $50. We spent $18.15 last year, everybody okay with that?
It's a one-time ad.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yep.
If you go, Art, if you go to Hillsdale, behind the.
150,
by the
460
fire
tax
station,
books,
you can see
2,000.
their stuff they
Yes.
got for the.
Yeah, everybody okay with
Got a
150?
high water truck.
Very
Thinking
interesting.
zero,
You okay with
Yep.
460, Mr. Casco?
Yes, I am.
155, 470 was zero, 155, 200. This is miscellaneous.
150, 40, can we zero delete that since it's been zero for years now?
Forced to leave.
470.
Sure.
What's that?
Yeah, 470, force delete.
Delete.
150, 500, everybody okay with 200? We've spent zero on the last
150,
year.
500.
Being
Yes,
him
yes.
as a new guy, I think he needs a little.
Yeah.
Okay,
Leave it there, that's, I'm good with it.
okay.
Yeah. Let him find his level.
150, 280, the PDF conversion software, 150, everybody okay with that?
820, yeah, so this is gonna be, this is PDF, we're gonna convert PDFs into.
Like to
what is
Word or something like that, he
Is
asked
this Adobe?
specifically for that software.
Is this like an
It-
Adobe?
It's like an Adobe, it's a
It is.
utility that does it. You don't need the whole Adobe suite, but just a utility.
And Sue wants this as well, so I
I
already
was gonna
told her
say,
she'll
so-
get it.
so
No.
if PDF files come in, you wanna convert them to
Oh,
Word.
absolutely.
Yeah.
because-
I agree.
So then you don't have to retype them, it's a
Right,
great software.
yeah, yeah.
We'll have
Then
it.
you can send stuff to us in Word too. Okay. So
So everybody's okay with
Is
820?
everybody gonna get that then? This is for
Yes,
everybody?
this just was born out of a conversation where it was 1,500 and we questioned. The original request was 1,500 and Peter brought up the question, what is this for? And we contacted and it was a carry forward from prior years. When he rethought it, he realized the county pays that now, so down to zero. But at that time, then Murdy said, I would like this software. So we just put it in there so it was earmarked, but there is an intent. Sue and I have had this conversation. She absolutely needs it. I had it on my computer. And actually, I have to talk to the guy who installed it because it doesn't seem to be there anymore, so
It-
we have to get.
It's gonna save so much time.
I was
Yeah.
going to say,
You know.
should we maybe look into a site license for that as opposed to just?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I think everybody should have.
Could
it.
have, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so 820, 150, 820, everybody okay with the 150?
Yes.
Yes.
Tax max revisions. 0 tax valuation, 0.
I do know that
Are
this
we-
is something, we don't have it budgeted here, but the engineer Paul Azalina has suggested the tax maps need to be updated,
Yeah.
and he included that in his budget,
Okay.
Yeah,
so.
but for some reason, these two are listed as special emergency. I don't know what it
That
was back
was-
in those years,
That
but.
was for, when we did the reevaluation.
Okay.
Can we zero delete those then out?
Sure.
I don't see why.
But it seems to me that it kind of belongs up here rather than an engineer.
How much did Azalina ask for the tax stuff? Tax
It's blended in
It
his
was
budget.
minimal to 3,000 maybe was his ask
Because we
for
have
that.
that, we have 40,000 on the balance sheet, so.
That may be the 1/5.
Yes, it is. And and this is the last year we pay that 1/5.
Yeah, that's the 40,000.
We spread it out.
Yes.
Which 1/5?
I think we,
Line
1/5,
201.
okay.
Yeah.
I think we expensed it and set
Correct.
it up on the balance sheet, and then,
Okay.
So we can force delete that one at 200 and 201, right?
Yeah, 200 and 201, we're gonna force delete, yeah.
Budget will be down to 10 pages next year. God wants it,
Okay,
right?
okay with me?
It'll still somehow be 30 hours.
No.
Thanks, class FFD.
We should force delete Department of Law subscription of books, is line 240, is 0. Right?
so we're skipping line,
We're gonna skip salaries, correct? We said.
Yeah.
okay, so that's line 110, 150.
155, 110 we will skip. And then going into
So
155.
just before we skip that, so basically, per the auditor, everything that we're doing on this is all going into salary, so Ken's salary technically would be 140,000.
Maximum.
Okay,
We see the breakdown.
yeah, I'm trying to see, so, you know.
It's
again,
all there at the bottom of the
Yeah,
notes.
but co is here again, codification, okay. All right, we'll go to, where were you, I'm sorry.
We're at 155, 240, we're gonna do a forced delete since it's been 0 for years, and it's just another line we don't need to see. Everybody okay with that?
And also, though, you could force delete the 260 because we've learned that they're not supposed to be down there, they'd have to be up in.
But I would leave that for the history, I think, no?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I didn't delete some of these, because of the
yeah.
history.
Yeah, the subscription of books, he's at 0 for
Right.
years, I can see that one, but I would leave 260 there. We're moving down, right?
Are you down
Where are you?
320,
to the middle of page 15? 801,
320, I think you could say goodbye to also.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's been allocated, but nothing's been spent.
Hold on a second.
I lost track, so we're on page 15?
Yep, we're at
Yes.
320, we're at 155, 320. Department of Law Consulting,
Oh,
non-legal.
155, 320, okay. So-
Which is 0.
So where did we move the PBA number?
The what?
The PBA labor attorney, I think,
It's not in
We
his
didn't do
estimate.
move it.
what?
We didn't do anything with it yet.
Yeah, but you took it out of the council.
No,
No,
you
no,
said
we
you
said
flagged it.
we were gonna flag it, we
I
flagged it.
flagged it, and
Okay.
then we can create a line, anytime
Okay.
you want to create a line
So,
for it
so based
specifically.
on what I see in 110, is Mr. Poller anticipating that that's in his regular salary there? Because he doesn't have anything with labor.
It's not that he is, the auditor has, the new auditor changed procedures and is requiring it up there, that's why it's up there.
I mean,
Everything that has to be paid through as salary, up there.
to me,
the salary and wages.
Taking a quick look, if we're going to go to a labor attorney, I would almost put it in the 260 line, the first one on page 15. Other legal services seems like a logical place to put it.
When we get there, yeah.
Yeah, mhm.
Okay.
Wait, 260?
Yeah.
Okay, earmark it specifically for that purpose, and it's got to be tagged that way. if you don't tag it that way, it can be spent in
Yeah,
other-
Department of
in other
Law, the legal services labor attorney, you're saying,
things.
yes.
Yeah, make sure it's written there, labor attorney.
260 is going to be labor attorney.
So then, I don't think we should
Yeah, then
use it then.
We should create a new line item then.
Yes,
Because
Yeah,
then we,
okay, okay.
then we lose the history.
Yeah, I agree. I'm okay with that. So
new
make
line
it 261?
When we get to that point,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Okay.
Okay. So are we at 156, 260?
Yes.
Which,
So that we need a breakdown of, you can't just put 50,000, we need to know what the breakdown is of that.
Well, I think it's estimates, and in his note, you can,
Yeah, but again, we have the planner, special master, which I thought was, and then we have litigation 71. Oh, what is that? Where did that come from? Because
You guys
I've
asked
asked
about
about
last
this.
year.
I know, but we said it was,
We talked about it, and it was,
impossible to do.
it's not gonna, we decided not to do it.
Well, then we take out that note. That was just his note. There's nothing in the budget. That 50,000 does not include anything for that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all for it, but the conversation we had, I think.
That's going nowhere.
I think Ken said that,
think that note
the
should
amount of
come out.
litigation in the county, it's gonna cost, blah, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah.
Take the note
So
out.
that doesn't
But-
change the amount. The amount was for the COA and
Well,
special.
can we have the estimates that, can we see the COA estimate and the planner, from the planner and the special master?
We don't have one. That's from
Yeah, they don't
Ken.
have it, so we can't do it. We've got to put it on
it
hold.
depends how it
So,
unfolds,
why
I
don't we do-
think.
Why don't we flag it, wait for explanation on what his estimates are for each of those two,
But I think the
Two
verbiage, if pursue exit 171 should come off.
I just crossed that out of mine, yeah.
yeah, that was a note, that was a non-starter.
yeah, so I know we spoke about COA at the last closed session. The, okay,
I mean, the heavy lifting's supposed to
We
be
can
done,
do it
but
for
it just
next-
keeps
sort of
coming.
next one.
okay.
Okay? Just-
50,000, some real heavy lifting.
But we keep,
But that's what I'm saying, I mean, this,
when does it end, right?
this was, the remaining work was de minimis in
Yes.
comparison to the overall project, and we have 50K. So I think
Steep
that,
number.
I think there's something, either this number is wrong, or there's more to it than we understand, and it's not de minimis. So I think we need,
We need to flag
Do
this.
you guys want to, since Ken's at the council meetings, maybe add it to the agenda so you can have it addressed then,
Yes.
rather than have him come in?
It's closed
It's going to be
session.
closed session, yes.
Why
Sue,
does
can we
that-
add that to the closed
No, no.
session agenda?
Anything
Absolutely.
that says COA, I thought it was
Yeah.
closed session, I'll be happy to discuss it. If you want us to go through the budget, that's fine.
Yeah, we'll have Sue add it to the closed session, Mr. Brewer.
Okay.
Just ask her to, please.
Well, maybe not, I mean, if we're talking budgets, that doesn't have to be closed, I don't think, we can do.
Well, you may have to talk about who's
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
what.
the strategy and all
If
that
there's
stuff, so
anything,
it's gotta be
if
closed.
it's anticipation of
Okay,
litigation.
yeah, I
It's
mean,
gotta be
and to Mike's point, the heavy lifting keeps getting heavier and more expensive, so, okay.
Okay.
Good.
yeah, I mean,
Good. Now we need information.
that's assuming the actual, I mean, okay.
So we also,
Enough.
so let's drop, if we're gonna do anything, well, the whole thing is flagged, but again, now we look down here.
And there's more money spent.
Well, this is what we put in legal fees for COA, which is Ken. We put in planner's fees, which was T&M. So the planner's fees up on top, which he says COA estimated for planner, should drop into this line item.
Ken wanted it in one.
Well,
you
we
can talk
don't-
to him.
I know, but we don't want it in one.
Well, we already-
Well, I'm telling you, if you change it, but I'm saying that was specifically at
Yeah, I'm
his
saying,
direction.
but we want, I know, but we don't want it in one line item, we want it separated. So we have a line item for special master, we have a line item for COA. And that's what we want to track. So whatever he agrees, or whatever he thinks he needs to spend, we need to put in the line items.
We'll address it with him
Yeah.
in the closed.
Yeah, because all those three items fall
Right.
into 270, 280, and 290 there, and that's what I guess Bob is trying to say.
I agree with you, and I'm telling you that I was specifically told to put it in one line.
Okay.
That's how the request came.
Okay.
I guess you've kind of been told something different now.
Oh, I know, you'll do that through your
Well,
ads.
He can
and
request
subtracts.
and then we change, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just
I don't-
following the request.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know why we changed it. So, okay, so now we're down to what?
Codification on the next
So
page.
can I just ask, are
Special master fees.
What line are you talking about, Michael?
Two zeros.
270,
270, 280?
270, and 280?
Right.
And maybe 290.
270 is definitely gonna be zero unless you're gonna have an attorney other than Ken, because we're not allowed to pay him out of another expense line. You have to keep in mind that everything after salary and wages is other expense, and anything that's
Yeah,
Ken
so
related.
just to clarify, 270 is zero.
Yes,
Unless you pay another attorney. But
exactly,
this shifts up into the salary line.
correct.
Right.
And then you'll see that down later for on the next page, codification and tax appeals. You won't have anything there unless you have someone else other than Ken, because his fees for those activities are up in the salary and wage line.
Correct.
So for codification, I guess codification was going on since 2015?
Well, Mike, did you want to go back to those couple lines, or?
I would just suggest, because it sounds like there's a lot of discussion with Department of Law, COA, and Special Master Planner. I think everyone should just relook at the actuals, because, we're doing transfers,
And we're way over budget.
so
Yes.
it's, the unwinding that, or understanding the source of all these expenses, I think would benefit all of us, because it's quite some roadmap that you're looking at on the actual side.
Okay, so we'll hold off on that then. Review actuals. Page 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're down to,
Appraisers, 210.
yeah, so.
Are we gonna skip, you wanna skip codification and tax appeals?
Well, he obviously put him in his salary line also.
Okay,
It's all for review, Mike decided.
thank you, Mr.
So you have to
Okay.
go back into the
Yeah.
book?
Yeah, I know.
All right, so tax appeals, so I had something, I made a note on page 27, the actuals, so let me just see what I made the note. 160. Oh, so we spent 6,000 for Mason Elm Center.
Yes, it's a retainer for the town center tax appeal. I don't want to get into too much more, but
Yeah, is that the same one this year?
I don't know what the
This is
12.5 is, because I'm not aware yet of any tax appeals being filed, and you would not, I don't believe, have to incur more. The town center, if the tax appeal is not settled, would be consolidated with the prior appeals. So I don't know that his fee would go up for one more year of
We
appeals.
should ask Ken about this also.
And
it
I'm not
sounds like.
aware of any other commercial appeals that are pending. So this is to be determined, I guess, based on,
Let's flag this one. If everybody okay
again,
with
you
that.
can ask Ken when you discuss the other parts of the budget with him.
So 16210, do you wanna flag that, Bob?
Yes.
Yeah, the whole these.
All of those should be flagged, correct? Excuse me.
So just to back it up a second, based on the update that we received at the last closed session, and just tying that into your comment, the appraiser has been paid for that appeal, we believe,
Yes,
and there shouldn't be a recurring expense for that specific item.
well, that I'm not sure on,
Okay.
because each year what happens is while you have a tax appeal pending, to preserve your rights, the taxpayer always adds the next year onto the lawsuit. So I'm not sure if, and then what happens is, the way tax appeal works, it's evaluation as of October 1 in the year prior. So it's a moving date. Your assessment of a property is going to be different each year.
Okay.
one would think, or not. I mean, but it has to be evaluated each year.
Okay. Thanks.
So we're basically doing it every 2 years with that number.
But that's an ask for Ken, because I don't know how much extra work is going to be if he has to prepare evaluation for October 1, 2017, assuming that appeal is filed.
We have a retainer from them, retainer agreement?
It's somewhere.
Contracts? Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Can we get a copy of that, Sue, of that contract?
Okay,
Thank you.
moving to engineering. Mr. DeSena, 165, this is kind of like yours.
Yeah, 165, 100, that's the director, correct?
Correct.
Anybody have an issue with that? You appointed him.
I have a, well, I know we can't talk about him, so I would just try to, I'd like to understand, like, what this is. So I don't want to talk about it.
The director himself?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we have to write some, only for the reason to have a conversation of what the game plan is, that's all I want to do.
Mr. DeSena, can we go back to the
Because there's a lot, I
Department of Law,
think there's going to
please?
be a lot of engineering activity,
Mm-hmm.
so I just want to, you know,
Well, excuse me, Mr.
Can we go back to the Department of Law?
Sure.
If we can go up to the
What
top. Page 14, Department of Law, you have the Director of Law and the salary.
Yeah.
I'd like to separate that out to make it consistent with the rest of all the other directors. I want you to can we back out 1250 for Director, and then put under there Town Attorney, change the line to make it consistent? That's the way it should be. There's no other.
Reasonable.
A director of law.
So Director
at
of Law.
1250.
At 1250.
And then take
okay?
that out of the
And
salary
then-
line.
So that would be,
Correct. You should,
one
like every
line,
other- like every
salary.
other department, yeah.
Next line would be Township Attorney, and then just back out his request. So you back out 1250 out of that. If
That
we
would
can do
be, that would make it consistent with.
it.
every
Consistent with all the
director.
other departments.
Correct.
Well, that's,
Technically, then.
the director stipend of 1250 is only specific, it's not, it's identified to each department in the salary ordinance. So it's not, that would be inconsistent with the way the salary ordinance is written.
So we change the salary ordinance. It's not a big deal. Well, what was that about? You don't like that?
No, I'm just saying, because I guess then you need to do it with mine as well.
That we should. that
Okay.
should
But
be-
I don't know that that's
You're a
the
director?
rationale for
Yes.
that. I think, and actually, I talked to
Then-
Peter about certain directors have more responsibilities than other, and I will tell you that in the past, the director of engineering had requested more money.
Well, then,
So,
that's a good reason to break it out then, if we're going
Break
to
it
start to
out.
vary.
So now
people.
every director, if you look at the code, there's
Yeah, there's
9
a-
directors, so you give them the 9 stipends, okay? And then
Their
you back
salaries
out the
covered.
salary.
but in the past, there wasn't a stipend for these two departments.
Right.
I could put it out, but if the others were stipends,
Okay?
Well,
So-
so then you have so what you're saying is if somebody gets $2,500 in salary, but now they get $1,250 in stipend, they get $1,250 in salary? So
Same money.
Total is,
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
I'm
yes,
asking.
yes. If it's 2,400, or 2,500, you
Well,
back,
it's
you
1250.
we're
back it
gonna
out,
be uniform,
1,250,
include
1,250.
1250 as stipend in the
Yeah,
balance of salary.
Sure, that's all. It's not like we're taking anything away, we're just rearranging it. That's all.
We're just
I wouldn't-
making it match
I
our
wouldn't do
ordinance.
that.
It's better accounting.
Yeah, I wouldn't take anything away that's already earned.
No, no,
That would be incorrect.
Okay,
All right, getting back.
good point, Steve. So now we're on,
Gentlemen, just so we know, it's 10 to
Gold
12.
star. I got the
WCTV has
blue
to break at
stars, maybe a silver, but never a gold.
At 12:15.
At 12.
I probably got a black one.
you like, he's done, you mean?
If I got a
Yes,
star.
12:15.
Is it commercial?
Yeah. Super Bowl.
So we're in engineering services, so we've said 165, 100. Bob wanted more explanation on that. Are we going to approve the
Well, it's
1250?
not the 1250, I just want to understand what the game plan is, since we have so much engineering activity. So I want to talk about his function, but we have to write
His function is he oversees.
because we can't talk about him.
But I think what
Well,
Bob
we're
is
talking
saying, based on how
You
much
can
we have
talk about
going
the
on, it
position,
might
but
be
not the
higher.
person. Right.
Yeah, so let's rice him, because, we're going to get into what, I can talk about the position, but then it's going to be, I want to talk about other things too.
And I understand where you're coming from, like he does more, but that is, his job is to oversee, like the director of rec. How are you going to justify one getting more than the other? It's difficult, 'cause it's different
No, I'm not talking
positions.
salary.
What are you talking about?
He just wants to know more about his job.
Oh, job description. Oh, okay, I
Oh,
understand.
my mistake also then.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's set
I thought
by
you-
ordinance.
I'd like to have a discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a lot of engineering activities, things going on, you know, there's Prospect Street, there's everywhere we turn, so I just want to understand. I don't want to get in trouble and mention names and then start talking
No,
about it.
no.
Better safe than sorry.
It's an issue, so that's all.
Position.
Okay, so, general engineering, so big increase here. I guess you're gonna have to break this down before we do anything with this, obviously. This is all Azalina?
Yeah, and I've asked him to break it down, so if we want to
Flag this?
flag that, yes.
You might wanna have a conversation too, because you do
Yeah.
engineering stuff.
Stormwater, so we're gonna flag 165-201, 165-202.
That's a given, I assume?
What is,
No,
what does that
actually-
entail, like, what do
Just so
we?
you know, I think the ask from Mr. Azalita was 88,000 total, and in discussing it with Peter, we just carved out the 5,000 based on prior year. That was typically anything to, to satisfy our obligations under the, is it the Stormwater Management Act?
Okay, but would that be done by, most of that information is gonna be done by, I believe, our DMF director, because that's who submits the form.
No,
Mr.
actually, the engineer did in the past.
In the past, he
And
had.
then delegated certain responsibilities that, all of a sudden I was the stormwater coordinator, Sue
Correct.
was something,
Okay.
DMF
All right,
was somebody.
let's we table 202 until we get some clarification of who's gonna do what, because I'd like to make sure that other people aren't doing parts of 202
Okay.
that,
Flag.
right?
So, Peter, just on this Azalina number?
Yes.
This firehouse, but you have a firehouse guy coming in, right, separate?
Yes, to do the study, but what Paul, depending on how fast we move this year, he just, listed it as a potential project for the year.
Oh, we're gonna get a breakdown of his numbers,
Correct,
so.
yes.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Page 17, right?
Yes.
Bottom's there.
406-100.
Could I request that we put off public affairs? Dina had given me a spreadsheet, which I neglected to bring because I didn't know how far we were going to get, but I'll bring it to the next meeting.
What page is she on?
17,
Let's just approve her directorship, since that's an easy one,
Okay.
Yep, so everybody's okay with 406-100?
and we'll flag 110.
Yeah, so 110 through
Through 820.
820, the mayor is asked to table that until he brings us
Yeah.
a spreadsheet with
Yeah.
all the breakdowns. Is everybody okay with that? 820.
820, yeah, okay, good.
Oh, I'm sorry, if we could address one area, sorry about this. 406-230, the employee holiday party. That was my request. I think that the employees deserve more than what we've been giving them, which is just a catered lunch at best. I'd like to expand it to more people coming, have an evening dinner, include zoning and planning boards, since they're volunteers, they deserve something also. I think it would be a great morale booster. Believe it or not, I didn't think it would get this high, but when you add it up, it comes out to about 100 people between council, elected officials, the employees.
You know what we
the police.
spend on the fire, and we spend at least that, well, I saw
Yeah.
the bill actually, and we spend more than that.
Yeah,
So
Seasons gave us a very
yeah,
good
they
price.
do give us a good price, and I would concur with the mayor, that's something that we should do. It's a little something
And the reason I'm
extra.
rushing it is when I checked last week, believe it or not, he only
Book
has
it.
3 evening
Book
dates
it.
open for the holiday season coming up.
Is everybody okay with 406-230?
It sounds like a lot, but I think
Yeah.
the employees
The goodwill
really
we get
deserve
from it, yes.
recognition. I
So this
know
would include planning and zoning
Yeah,
and,
all government officials and
Yeah,
anyone who
mhm,
works.
all the
not spouses.
Yeah, with no spouses, right.
Right,
But
I'm saying,
it added
but
up quick to
planning
be
and
about 100 people, included the directors for the departments.
I agree.
Yeah.
That is money
Wouldn't they
well
want
spent.
I believe so.
Okay.
Everybody okay with 406-230, the new suggestion brought to us by the mayor?
I'm all for it, but, so, if we're gonna go to this account, so the holiday party, holiday decorations, event coordinators, anything that we have here, we have 84,000 sitting in a reserve,
Correct,
we gotta wipe it out.
correct.
So
Yep,
this
no-
is
no
not
question.
gonna cost us anything.
Correct.
It's a zero
And-
net right there.
And for a lot of this, we also get sponsor support, which I want to talk about also.
What's
Dina had
the-
included that in
No,
the
no, I'm saying,
spreadsheet.
we want to zero out that 83,000, so
Yeah.
it's
So
gonna
it's
be-
all fine, so we,
Yeah.
there's
To
plenty
Peter's
of money.
point, you know, with this holiday party, it was brought up numerous times in numerous administrations to do something like this, and I don't want to go back, but you know what happened there,
Yes.
and I'm glad that our new mayor is doing something for the employees to recognize their service.
Okay,
Thank
so
you, Peter.
406-230,
Yes, my
we're
pleasure, our
we're
pleasure.
okay, so the mayor can
Book it.
set the
Yep,
date, everybody
set it.
okay?
Yep.
Thank you,
There you go, Mr. Mayor.
thank you.
So now we're going to skip down
Correct.
to WCTV expense, 407-0000.
I mean, just to finish the page, even though it's on public affairs, if you want to do the top one on 18, because that is pretty fixed, the videotaping fees.
Well, that's not fixed. Well, they have to determine how many meetings they're gonna have. This was,
Yeah, I mean, what's in there,
I guesstimated.
Okay, where are we exactly?
the top of page 18.
406-520, public affairs videotaping council.
Oh, gotcha,
meetings.
okay. Got it.
$9,600 based on the
That's-
prior year's expenses for 2017 and 2018.
Yep.
Is everybody okay with that?
I would just like to put out there that the fee was the same for 16. The fee per meeting was the same for 17. And the time that we spend at our meetings is, I think, more than perhaps was anticipated. We are often here till, 11, 12. And when we leave, there's still quite a bit of work that needs to be done to get that back up and running. So I would just say, do we want to consider changing the per meeting fee, a nominal increase just to, everyone else is getting an increase? Or, I shouldn't say that. Other salaries and other fees are being raised. I would propose increasing that to $325.
Well, just before you go there, it has to be based on multiple quotes because it's over a certain amount. Last year, we obtained quotes from another individual, and we went forward with this. I was told there wouldn't be an increase, but I will solicit, how about if I solicit quotes again and see what they're asking?
Okay.
Okay?
No,
How
no,
about we speed up our council meetings a little bit quicker? We can cut costs down.
Here, here.
Try.
That would- I know- You've done a very good job so far, Mr. President. I'm very
He's looking
proud
at
of
me
you.
when he said
You
that.
know? Well, I would never, point fingers. If you
He's not
want.
throwing it under the bus, he's knocking it over.
On our last agenda, we saw a lot of RBs next to the item.
Yeah, like I said,
And
He's in
again-
that hotel room down there. He's,
I think we need to just make sure we're not causing an issue for WCTV, the existing company, by doing this. So if they're okay with 300, we'll leave it at 300.
Yeah, I mean,
I
what I
need
was,
to, well, based on this.
Let's flag
based on
it,
the
let's
vo-
flag it.
well, based on the volume, the number, the 9,600, since it's over 6,000, I do have to request 2 quotes, and I will do that again between now and, 2 weeks.
We're still gonna
I'll get them
flag
out.
that one, right?
Well, let's flag
I
it.
mean-
who's gonna videotape? I'm missing something.
Would somebody else come in and videotape that?
Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's go.
well,
Okay,
just one
let's-
quick
let's not-
comment. No disrespect to the person doing it, but at 300 a meeting, if it takes 6 hours start to finish, that's a decent hourly rate right there.
And if
so.
you're concerned, the second quote was from Mr. LaFreri. So it's a quote from Mr.
Okay.
Wojcik.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, computer supplies, 0 for 406-820. Nothing's been requested, so maybe we could just
So what are
zero
we
that.
doing on 520? Sorry, we flagged?
We're gonna flag that until Mary Ann gets us more information, correct?
I'll get you quotes for this year.
Yes.
Updated quotes.
Okay, is that all right, Mr.?
Yeah.
And then 406-820, it's been 0. Should we just 0 delete that? Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
The WCTV cable expense, 407-0000,
Just-
7.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Anybody have an issue with that? It's just,
Is it enough?
I see a hand.
I was told that that's what they were looking for. They didn't get me a detail, but they want $7,000 instead of having a message. This is,
I think in general for equipment upgrades, that's about what they try to budget each year. But
And I
Steve,
don't-
sorry, didn't mean to.
No, it's okay. I don't mind that going for 7, but I know we get a franchise fee from the cable televisions, if I'm not correct. Don't we have a franchise fee with
I
them?
don't think it's tied to that. It's tied to the fact that it's offered in the town. We get it from, you get it even if you don't host a TV station.
I understand that, but my point is, they're asking for 7. It's really not costing us 7 because we get the
We get the
franchise
franchise
fee
fee.
back. So I don't mind giving them that.
Yeah, but I think the franchise fee has nothing to do with the.
It goes in the general
It
surplus.
does,
is what
but
I'm
it
saying.
doesn't.
And
Okay.
it's
Right.
not tied to you having a TV station.
Exactly. So-
Any town gets it.
I understand that. Everyone
But it is
gets
offsetting the
But it's
cost.
offsetting the cost, so it's really not 7,000
It could
that
be less,
we're
yes.
asking for the residents to really set off from the franchise fee. That's
okay,
all.
so everybody okay with 407-000?
Mike, you're okay with that, right?
Yes.
You okay with it, Mr. Clement?
Yes.
I mean, we have to, this is not only, this doesn't only support our little
Supports
couple
everything.
hours. I mean, they're going this
They're leaving
afternoon
this
to
afternoon to go do basketball.
go do basketball. So it is certainly a
Encompasses a
town
lot of
service.
things, right?
It's not just us.
You know, I'm going to make a request. They do a lot of work, they cover a lot of things. I'd like to give them a little bit more. I'd like to give them another 1,000 for the time they spend covering all the basketball games, football games, other town events.
Yeah, they did 2 basketball games last night.
Well, that was
Okay.
my question, is it enough? So, I mean,
Well, that's what
Peter
they're,
says
that's what they're
They
requesting,
requested
but-
7.
but
Well,
I think
I mean,
another 1,000
Whatever it is, it is. So
won't break
another
us,
1,000.
and it would show our appreciation for all they do. They cover a lot of things.
Do we want to go to them and ask them, could they upgrade another piece of equipment for 1,000 if
Yeah,
we gave it to
sure.
them and just flag it for now?
I'm sure, I'm sure, but, you know, again, they do a lot of work, and it's all volunteer pretty much, and I think they, you know, again, I would ask for a plus 1,000.
All right, everybody, once
That's
we
good. Maybe
ask
then
them
we'll
if
have
that's
less
okay.
static in the
Okay,
range.
so we'll flag it, we'll ask them, yeah.
If we can get the fitting cameras
But-
next, that would be good.
8,000,
We'll
and
take
then
a
we'll see
couple
if it's
pounds
enough.
off, I'm good.
Yeah.
Who will ask them?
Mary Ann.
Mary Ann, can we ask them? When you're asking for the quotes, if you don't mind?
Certainly, which I'm going to do right now.
There you go. Okay, we're gonna skip salaries, right?
Yeah.
Meeting fees, 1,800 for 180-120 for planning department. Everybody okay with that?
That's kind of a salary,
Yeah, I have
along
that.
with extra hours.
So 24.
If you want to skip to the beginning of page 19?
These are all.
Yeah, it's all
salaries?
salary, it's all,
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna skip to 180-210.
yes.
Please.
So they spent $76.28. They're asking for $100 in office supplies for 2018.
Good.
Everybody good with that?
Is Vince up and running now? Is he,
Yes.
he's good?
Well, we can't talk about that.
No, in terms of
In office supplies?
in terms of running the office.
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay.
He still looks out to help for both Sue and I.
So I know Vince was running back and forth to the downstairs.
That's getting less and less. It's still a little bit, but getting less and less.
But if we hire a second.
Right, which is in the budget, to hire a second TA for building.
So Bride is a part-time TA?
Correct, and he's looking for a second one.
Okay. 180-240, 0 for subscription of books.
Yep.
Everybody okay? Dues, meetings, and conferences, 0 for that, for 250. Board legal fees, legal services for the planning board.
Where does
Okay.
10,000 go, do we know, Mary Ann?
Where'd it go to?
Well, we paid 66, we moved 10.
I don't remember. It was a resolution I could look
Big
at.
number.
I'm sure it has to do with COA.
It was
I'm
COA.
sure, I mean, mostly the big ticket
All the big
items were
ticket items are
COA.
COA, so that's
Yeah.
another.
And I
COA
think
number.
we were talking that it was somewhat related because it was planning board.
I'm sure.
And this, just so you remember, this
should
was
come down.
based, there was a significant bump in a number last year because there was 2 pending lawsuits. One was quickly
Right, one got settled.
dismissed,
Right.
and so the number went down. And then we hired special counsel for the remaining suit. And this 2625 in the note was based on what he told me. The other is the per meeting fee for Mr. Lamatina. Anything else for him is paid out of the applicant's escrow.
Correct. So everybody okay with 8625
Yes.
for line item 18260?
Yep.
Legal advertisement, $200, 18310. Everybody okay?
Why don't you bump it up a little bit there?
Well, the only thing that you pay out of that, in the past, there was, in the prior years, people were not charging escrows as they were supposed to. And the only thing that you don't charge to an escrow that the planning board publishes is their meeting dates and the appointment of the engineer and the attorney. And it's a lot less. Last year, there was a bump because there was COA advertisements charged to that.
Oh, okay. I'm good with it. I'm good with 200 on there.
Okay.
Uh, 18320, I'd like to have some more information. So if we could table that one for the re-exam of the master plan.
Yeah, I just put that in as an estimate without any backing just yet, but I
Yeah,
know
that's
it's
why
something we have to do.
I want to flag that
Yeah,
and just
that's
have more
fine.
information provided on
Yeah.
that.
Didn't we finish our master plan yet?
Let me say, I believe the council finished its part, but then that gets incorporated into the one that the planning board does for the overall town master plan.
So you, when you were on the planning board,
Yeah.
you appointed someone to
Yes.
do it out of Steele's office.
Yes.
It was kicked into 2017 because of COA. Last year, when I asked about it, it was kicked again because COA was still outstanding. So even though we're past the review period,
Yes.
the statutory review period, it hasn't been done, and we're still asking, what's the status?
So it's the same number that keeps moving?
Well, let me say, with me
didn't do it.
replacing who I replaced on the board, I would like to get it moving because it is more than 10 years old, which is past the look-back period. And so, again, I'd like to at least get it moving, but I put that in only as an estimate because even when I asked the existing people on the planning board, they were either new since the last one or couldn't remember 10 years ago what the cost was. So I have no problem flagging it, and I'll try and get further
I believe we're out of
information.
date for a re-exam. I think we have to
Yeah.
do a full-blown,
Right.
it's not a re-exam, master
Right.
plan. It's a new master
Yeah,
plan.
the
because-
re-exam's supposed to be done every year, which has been
done.
done for numerous years,
Correct. So I
which there was a
believe-
lack of.
I believe we're
you
into
know,
a full master
Yeah,
plan
full
re-exam.
blown. So you
gotta start through the whole thing.
And that's why I want to get more information
Right.
from the mayor, from the planning board, and when
Yes.
the dates are,
Yeah,
and so forth.
I just raised it
I think
at the
we're
last
over our-
meeting.
Our 6-year re-exam
For
period.
2016, there was a discussion that we needed to do it. However, we were told by the planner, if you're in the midst of whatever was going on, that
The
I
COA.
You get an
I just want more
extension.
information
Yeah.
for that, because
So we make a note also, reserve, because we have this tax money sitting on the balance sheet, $40,000.
We're gonna put, like I
Sure.
said before, we're gonna exhaust what we
Yeah,
can and keep taxes down for the residents, since I don't wanna double tax
No.
them. That's our plan. Keep it as, if we can go,
I mean,
The
it's
same,
good that we
we're
can do
steady.
it, so we have money sitting
Yeah.
somewhere.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
We don't have to
It's not
gonna hurt the
tax
town
everybody.
tax.
we have to get up
Especially
to,
if it's a
up to.
once every 10-year thing, we don't have to see a
We
spike
could
in
just-
taxes if we already have the money.
Gentlemen, if it's okay, we'll finish up the planning department, and then it'll be 12:15, and WCTV has to leave, so we'll.
Okay.
Just one last quick question. Who appoints the planner for the re-exam, and where's that decision made? Is it made administrating, planning board?
I asked Lou that, the planning board attorney. He seemed to think that it was the planning board who would have that.
Okay.
Next, moving on for 180-370, training at $110 a person for the planning board.
There's 5 new members, so
Five
it's
new
simple
members,
math.
so
Okay.
simple math, everybody okay with that?
Yep.
And that takes us into the zoning office, but I guess we'll stop there, because
19 pages, I think that's the
19
best
out of
I've
60.
done in one meeting in quite some time.
Well, we used
so.
to have like 130 pages, so we're
Right,
down to
right.
60, so
Yeah.
we did a lot, and we don't
Yeah.
have much more, we're a quarter of the way done.
Everything is, the last few years, I mean, it's really been fine-tuned and cleaned up, so.
Do we want to
We
set
don't have to go back to
do we
this.
want to set the next
You're
date?
welcome.
We
I
want
was
to
gonna
set,
say,
Uh-huh.
we set the next
I
date.
thanked you in the
so we can
beginning.
announce it on-
I know, but I was waiting for one from Bob.
I thought you were gonna thank us. Thank you, Mary Ann.
Thank you, everyone.
Take an extra donut out of petty cash.
Leave early today.
So, next meeting?
Next meeting, yes, gentlemen. When
So, hang on one second, so where did we leave off?
we left off, we're going to start,
Okay, so we're gonna start
End
on
of page
20,
19.
right?
yes, 20.
So 20 we start.
20 we start off with.
All right. So next week is great.
The only evening I can't do next week is Thursday.
I'm not here Thursday either.
The next Saturday is the 17th.
Saturday, we can do Saturday again too, for sure.
No good.
No good?
I can't be here, neither can Cornelia.
Okay.
How about Sunday? Just kidding.
And not Monday because it's a holiday.
Monday is the holiday, 19th, yes.
Are we closed?
Yes,
Yes.
What's the holiday?
President's.
President's Day.
We need to look at our calendar for the
Haven't
town.
gotten that off yet, Mike?
No.
Yeah. Me neither.
Bring the town calendar, use that as leverage.
So next Saturday, you said is not good.
Yeah.
You and Cornelia are not here.
She can't.
So what about so the following weekend, that Saturday would be the 24th.
Will it? So, yeah, but let's go into during, so let's talk about next week first of all. So is next week out entirely? I'm not here Thursday.
I can't do Thursday. either.
Okay, so Saturday we can't do, so maybe the week after, during the week sometime?
We have a council meeting on Tuesday, the 20th.
Yes.
Why don't we do a quick council meeting and go to budget? You can do that, limit the council,
Yes.
and go right into budget. I think that's we've
That's
done
an
that
efficient
before.
idea.
Then we can just do open and then budget.
Well, you can do open, you can do if there's something of
Yeah,
impending,
something hot.
handle it and then go into budget. I think that'll work best.
Do you have any resolutions we have to read or any of that?
No, I don't think there's any.
We'll go
Right
down.
now, I mean, I
We
just
can't
could
do
be
any,
now.
we can't do anything in the evening
You have a
during the
trip.
week?
He's in
Well,
Is
this
that what
week
you
we
want
don't
to
know.
do?
We're saying next Saturday we can't, so I'm
I
saying
can't
the
do the
week after.
24th.
Well, you
I
can't,
think
you're
I'm
not
down in
available.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, so I'm saying,
Right.
well, we can do something during, we have a council meeting on the 20th, so we'll
Yes.
do something there.
Yes.
Yep.
And then we'll have to do something on, I don't
The
know.
24th?
Yeah, I don't
No,
know.
Mr. Cassio's not
It's-
available.
I don't have to be here for every budget meeting, and no
I'm
one
not
has
gonna
to
be here
be.
either.
So why don't we do the 20th?
Let's see what we get done on the 20th,
We
and
do
then we go
abbreviated
from there.
council meeting and,
historical
is everybody
input.
okay with that?
Just remember, Sue
You
has to
have to
advertise
historical
every
input.
one, which has a lead time
We
also.
can't do
Yeah, so
anything
you might wanna
Wednesday.
set more than
It's
one as a
Valentine's
point.
Day.
Right.
So do the 20th for now,
That's what I've been saying.
and then maybe.
Which you don't have to advertise
No,
because
because
it's already part of the meeting.
So we're
Right.
okay with that.
Yeah, and then we'll
Yeah,
discuss more
that's-
dates on the
exactly.
20th, if that's okay with everybody to.
And I'm
Well, the thing
okay.
is, you can't schedule, you need lead time because you
Yeah.
need two, and then you need 4,
2
you need
weeks,
4
right?
days lead time.
She needs 4 days.
The- Is,
Well, everybody can't make the 24th,
Right.
Mr. Cassio can't make, and you can't make
Running
Mary Ann,
overtime.
so.
is the
And-
16th,
What day is
this
that?
next Friday? I mean,
I can't do that.
Friday, okay.
How about Cornelia, could you do Friday? Can you ask her?
I'll tell you something after we're done over here.
Okay.
All right, so,
I'm
so
okay with the 16th. I'm okay with any evening after 6:30.
so the 20th we're going to do? Are we going
Better not
to, should
do
we try to
Wednesday.
do one of the
It's Valentine's.
departments that we think we want
Think of recording.
a director or
A department head.
department head to be?
I would recommend that also because I'm not gonna be at the meeting on the 20th. I'm
So
going
who's next on the
to
agenda
Tennessee.
after, so let's go see where we are.
You could do the police or the fire.
Well, let's go, who's next? So we have,
All right, we just gotta wrap up because we're past
Yeah.
15.
so it goes into police.
So we wanna, the
Police.
next budget meeting will be at the
So we have
council
to
meeting on
plan
the
this
20th.
police.
Make a motion to close and we can discuss this. It's not part of the meeting.
Motion to close.
Motion to close?
So moved.
Yes,
So moved.
You can turn us off.
Who's
Aye,
second?
aye, aye.
Aye, aye? Yeah, sir.
Aye.
Yes.
Councilman Brito?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Allman?
Yes.
Council
All right,
President
aye.
Costello?
Yes.
So then the next